It's been 16 years since the MGM Vikings have opened up a season at 2-0. So for the Sims community, tonight is a really big football game. Invading Viking land are the defending 7A Region 1 champs, the Foley Lions. And MGM wants nothing better than to send those pride of Lions back home licking their wounds. Up next, it's a 7A Region 1 battle headed your way for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Good evening, I'm Al Wheaton, joined by Corey LeBounty. We're glad you're with us. Down on the sidelines, we have Kimberly Dunn. Corey, this is new territory for us. We've never had a top 10 battle this early in the season.
7A Region 1 at its best tonight here out in West Mobile. You'll be looking for a redemption tour of such for the MGM Vikings. Looking forward to seeing how both of these teams are coming in 2-0, believing in themselves. What team is going to make the least amount of mistakes, Al?
You're right about that. Zach Golson has said it to the media. It's not a revenge tour, it's a redemption tour. And up next is Foley on that list, as they have gone 2-0 against opponents who beat them last year. So, Corey, we got a big ball game tonight. Man, let's get to your checklist. What's on Corey's checklist tonight?
Well, when you look for the MGM Vikings, they must stop the yards after contact. Colton Neroy is one of the best backs in the state of Alabama, leading them in rushing, so they're going to have to wrap him up. He's averaging 12.1 yards per carry. Stay on schedule. You can't get behind down and distance-wise. Finish Foley in 4 quarters. The mentality has been able not to go to overtime. Make sure that you finish what you start. Start fast, finish stronger. For Foley, you want to affect the quarterback. Jared Hollins has a rocket of an arm. He's a tremendous athlete. They're going to have to make sure they put pressure on him tonight. Controlling the clock. Derek Scott, he has a big back in Colton Neroy. He wants to make sure that he utilizes that and burns up the clock. Limiting the turnovers as well. That's going to be critical for this squad, for the Foley Lions, to take 7A Region 1 back to the top for this team.
As this game unfolds, we'll see if some of those things you talked about on the checklist will come to fruition. Right now, we got to take it down to the sidelines. Check in with Kimberly Dunn, our third member of the crew, for the BSN weather forecast.
Hey, Alan, Corey, it's great to be here for another night of Friday night football, and it feels great on this field. We'll be starting kickoff at 84 degrees, which is another low like last week, and the humidity this week is actually down from last week to 40%. So it's going to be feeling real good on the field for the guys. There's a slight breeze, not too much to be concerned with, but it does help us stay cool, so the guys should have a great night of weather for tonight's matchup.
Thank you, Kimberly. We appreciate that. Corey, I can see the color guard going onto the field. We're getting ready for our national anthem. We're going to take a break and come right back with impact players and more, featuring our spotlight players as well. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
High school students, are you looking for a way to become a better leader? Then the Junior Officers Training Corps may be what you're seeking. If you would like to develop self-reliance, learn ways to be more responsible, and improve your communication skills, you can do that and more when you register for the Junior Officers Training Corps. The JROTC program is available to all high school students in Mobile County. JROTC, we build a better you.
Mobile County Public Schools, the place that has it all. We have 90 schools that include rural, urban, and suburban schools of various sizes. We are also home to Alabama's first public school. We welcome you to come join our winning team. Our district is led by the 2020 Superintendent of the Year, Mr. Cresel D. Threadgill. Our teachers are leaders in their profession who are afforded numerous professional development opportunities. Our principals are collaborators and encouragers. Our schools are leading in innovation and instruction. And most importantly, our students who are learning today, leading tomorrow, are simply the best. If you want to live in a historically rich city near beautiful beaches with superb Southern hospitality, we invite you to come teach with the best. Team MCPSS.
We welcome you back to Charles Leverett Field at Emil Grider Memorial Stadium in the city of Sims for a top 10 matchup tonight. It is Foley and MGM. MGM is ranked number 8 and Foley is ranked at number 9. And Corey, we need to get into the nuts and bolts of the game. Who are going to be our threaded fasteners impact players tonight?
You always look to see how these guys are going to impact the game for the Mary G. Montgomery Vikings. Their quarterback, who was verbally committed to South Alabama, Jared Hollins. He is a tremendous athlete. We'll see him utilize his arm and his feet. Middle linebacker John Robinson is a thumper on defense for Coach Golson and Alex Page, the defensive coordinator. For Foley, your impact players, number 1, Perry Uno Thompson. He's the 5-star verbal commit to the Auburn Tigers. A lot of hype around this young man. We'll see if he lives up to it tonight. And a linebacker, Darion Autry. He's a senior that can flat out fly to the football for Coach Derek Scott. So these are going to be our impact players for tonight, Al.
We are definitely going to find out if they will have an impact tonight. Got to thank Threaded Fasteners, providing solutions from the ground up since 1979, sponsoring our impact players. Speaking of players, Corey, 2 guys tonight, you've already talked to them, and we mentioned them. They're going to be our spotlight players tonight, and they have put up some big numbers so far for this particular season. You got to recognize this young man from Foley, the running back, Colton Nero. Oh, my goodness. The numbers he has put up in 2 games is unreal. Look at what he's doing right now. He's leading the state in rushing with nearly 600 yards. He's averaging 277 yards a game. And you talked about him, one of your impact players, Jared Hollins, already committed to South Alabama. And the young man, he has a great head on him, Corey. I like his sensibility. I like his humility as well.
He understands the game, and he comes from a family of football players. His older brother is playing at Illinois right now for the Fighting Illini. So when you look at what this young man brings from a leadership standpoint, Jared Hollins to the MGM Vikings, we saw it 1 year ago. His continued growth in leadership is much appreciated by his head coach.
Had a chance to witness him receive his Crichton Optimist Club Player of the Week award a couple weeks ago, and very humble kid, God-fearing kid, so he's got a good head on him. But I'm looking forward to seeing what him and Colton Nero are going to do tonight. Speaking of doing, Corey, one stat I came across since 2014 when Class 7A was created. Listen at this. MGM is 2-20 against ranked 7A teams, and Foley is 5-16 against ranked 7A teams. They're both ranked in the top 10 tonight. Somebody's going to take the L.
Something that this community has been starving for, and they're being fed with a 2-0 record. We remember 1 year ago, this same MGM Vikings ball club started 0-4, lost some heartbreakers earlier in the season.
Correct.
They've been able to go ahead and flip the script this year, trying to get to 3-0. It's going to start becoming region champion. If you want to get atop of 7A Region 1, you have to do so by going through the defending 7A Region 1 champions.
All right, we're about 90 seconds away from kickoff. As you can see, they're tossing the coin right there on the field. We're going to take a break and come back and bring you the kickoff. It's a top 10 battle. Number 8 MGM, number 9 Foley, headed your way for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ayla, hi.
Oh, hi, Sierra. How are you?
Good. How are things?
Things couldn't be better.
What do you mean?
Well, I just started this new job as a school teacher with the Mobile County Public Schools, and it has been a life changer. Great benefits, the hours are great, and great students. Just overall, it's a great opportunity.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Yeah. I'm going to look into that.
You should.
For more information, visit mcpss.com/job opportunities.
Hello, I'm Katrina Frazier.
And I'm Deborah Robinson, and we would like to be your next realtors. As homeowners, we know how confusing it can be searching to find that perfect home that fits your needs and budget.
For that reason, it's important to have a reliable partner to represent you and to be there for every step of your home buying process. You'll find the services offered through Berkshire Hathaway, Home Services Cooper & Company Realtors are second to none.
So whether you are buying or selling your home, call us today and let our experience work for you.
It's your time, it's your season, and you are made for more. More confidence, more style, and more bling. The Genuine Bling is here to deliver you more bling and more fashion. With new styles added daily, you can shop anytime and look fabulous. Join me, Charmaine Watson, on the $5 Frenzy every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live. It's cute, it's fabulous, it's fashionable, it's $5, it's paparazzi.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today and leading tomorrow. And this year, our teachers are aiming for excellence. And Corley Bounty, both of these teams want to be excellent tonight. There's a lot up for grabs. I mean, it's a top 10 matchup. But the fact is, this is the first region game. This is only a 7-team region, so every win in the region is important here in 7A Region 1.
Last week we had an opportunity to see another 7A Region 1 opponent of both of these teams, the Davidson Warriors. So tonight, when you look at these two 7A Region 1 opponents, very well known by one another, very well respected. Derek Scott entering already his 5th year at Foley High School. It's hard to forget about that, having an opportunity to coach here in the MCPSS system at Viger, and now having the success turning that Foley program around, making them region champions. And now Zach Golson says, look, anything you can do, I can try to do better in regards to becoming region champion as well, taking over a program that had not seen its fair share of wins.
Foley won the coin toss. They deferred to the second half, so we'll get a look at the MGM offense running out onto the field first. Back to receive. They'll set up with Jarrell Lett, Troy Flowers, and possibly Shondell Harris. And these are some speedsters for the Vikings. Coach Golson said these guys can play, so they're going to play up-tempo and play fast tonight. And kicking for Foley, we had a chance to watch this guy in pregame. He was booming some 45 and 50-yard field goals. Matt Owen, the kicker for the Lions.
Field position and special teams are that third phase of the game that's always overlooked, but you're absolutely right about the Flyers in Jarrell Lett and Shondell Harris. If they get it and get a nice little wedge, you'll see the explosiveness that they contain.
And we are underway. It's going to be a touchback for the Vikings as Harris was in the end zone. So we'll get our first look here at the Vikings offense as they run out on the field, led by their senior quarterback, South Alabama verbal commit Jared Hollins, one of our threaded fasteners impact players and a spotlight player tonight. So we're going to be doing double duty on Mr. Hollins.
Offensive coordinator Andrew Reeves in his first year, along with Zach Golson, calling the signals for this Viking offense that averages 30 points per game.
I believe we may have a sideline warning on one of our own camera operators there, Corey. I can't believe it. That's a first. No flag on the play, just a little verbal. Vikings with the ball, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Great night for football here, as the Vikings have put a lot into their stadium, almost, I'm going to call it a little sweat equity they've put into it. I formation handoff to Flowers. He picks up a couple. 2nd down coming up here for the Vikings.
From the free safety spot, Greg McCowan, 5'9", 165-pound senior, comes up and makes his 16th tackle of the season, his 5th solo. It does pick up positive yardage, only a couple on that first down play.
2nd and 8 here for the Vikings. Flowers flushes out to the flat. They're setting up a screen for him. He picks up a couple more. Nice block by one of the receivers for him as well. So 3rd down, Shamar Elston with the block. 3rd and about, we'll call it, say 7 coming up here. Correction, 3rd and 5 coming up here for the Vikings.
Big time 3rd down, money down for this Foley Lions defense. Defensive coordinator and head coach Derek Scott calling the signals.
Hand off to Flowers. He's behind his blockers. He's into Lions territory past the midfield stripe. Tackled just on the other side of the 40. Big run by Troy Flowers.
On 3rd and 4, Devin Collier, the 6', 175-pound senior with the stop, but he stops in his tracks, then he hits the circle button. Look at the spin move coming out of the crowd. He explodes offensively. Flowers is blooming here early for the Vikings.
Pass from Hollins out to James Bolton, a name that was mentioned a lot last year. Bolton and Hollins, they played park ball together years ago, so they're quite familiar with each other. And I think we may have our first penalty of the ball game here.
We do. It's right in front of MGM's bench, which, you know, when you look at where that flag was thrown, had to be some type of holding. Another sideline warning here.
That one
as the officials, looks like we're trying to run the sidelines there as the pass was caught. One more, and that will cost you 15.
Our white hat Don English tonight, along with Lonnie Eaton, Lawrence Hogue, Jeff McCurley, Jeff McAllister, Carl McDowell, and Ray Shelley. So that sideline warning not against our camera operator, but actually against the Vikings. So that's just a warning. The next one would be an actual penalty. 2nd and 10, no gain on the play. Hand off to Flowers once again. Look at him running, keeping those legs going behind the line of MGM. Averages 244 pounds, that offensive line of the Vikings.
Darion Autry, the 6', 180-pound senior linebacker with the stop on the play, his 5th solo tackle on the season. But it does bring up another 3rd down possession for the Vikings.
3rd and 6 is what they're calling it here. Hollins takes his time, and he's got a man running, Caden Harrell. That is going to be a touchdown, 35 yards to the big tight end, and the Vikings are on the board already.
Goes unaccounted for when he releases. The 6'2", 200-pound senior gets on the board. 35 yards later, the Vikings able to convert on a couple of 3rd downs to keep that drive alive. Jared Hollins adds another passing touchdown. That's his 4th on the season for Jared Hollins, the 6'4", 190-pound senior, verbally committed to South Alabama.
Aaron McCraney on for the extra point. And I believe we have some movement on the line.
Yard penalty. Play to try.
That'll push the Vikings back 5 yards. Nice route ran by Harrell right there to haul that one in from Hollins. And the Vikings strike early, 9:46 remaining here in the first quarter. This is a very high potent offense that Zach Golson runs at Mary G. Montgomery.
And you have to love the fact that they were able to capitalize on 3rd downs and put 7 on the board on their opening drive.
The Vikings strike early. We'll be back with more action.
There's a lot to like about Mobile County Public Schools.
What I enjoy about Mobile County School is the extra attention my teachers give us to help us learn.
Teachers are liking their access to technology, and students are liking the quality of their education.
I like the technology that's been incorporated into my education.
And since 1826, you have trusted us to prepare your child for their future, and we like that. Mobile County Public Schools. We are learning today, leading tomorrow.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. There's your scoring summary right there. 35-yard touchdown reception. Aiden Harrell hauls it in. Only took them 6 plays. They burned 2:24 off the clock.
And you look at the mentorship that one quarterback has received, Jared Hollins, by Mr. Page. Kurt Page is his mentor. He has called some games here on the MCPSS system with our statistician, Matt Moore.
Sure did.
And again, Kurt Page, the former quarterback at Vanderbilt, who was the last one when Vanderbilt defeated Alabama. A lot of fun to see.
Kick out of bounds. 5-yard penalty and re-kick.
Don English says that we're going to re-kick after a 5-yard penalty is assessed. Perry Thompson let it go out of bounds, which was very smart for the senior. Why pick it up, let it go out of bounds, get that extra yardage, and get a do-over.
Well, here's what you're looking at. You definitely don't want to kick it directly to Perry Thompson because we know this young man can flat out fly. He is going to Auburn. He's going to Auburn for a reason, folks, not just because of his catch radius, but for his outstanding athleticism and his speed that he does possess. Shaborn Oaks also has a lot of speed. Coach Scott was very high on his special teams, so we'll see here if they decide to angle the kick, sky kick it, or if they kick directly to, and see what kind of return that Foley can put together.
McCraney also handles kickoff duties for the Vikings as well. Thompson and Oaks setting up at their own 15. Here's McCraney with the do-over. Oaks is going to field it at about the 14. Brings it to the near side and tackled at the 25. So we'll get our first look here at the Foley offense featuring that big back, Colton Nero, led by sophomore quarterback Nelson Thompson. One reason why Nero has so many yards early in the season, the offensive line averages 324 pounds across the front. That's a lot of beef there, LeBounty.
Where's the beef? Well, it's obviously in the bellies of these offensive linemen because they're getting it in. We'll see if they're able to establish the line of scrimmage and get tremendous push here as they take over on their first offensive possession at their own 25-yard line.
Nelson at quarterback. Nero just to the left of him. I believe we're going to get under play, but no, I hear whistles as one of the officials is pointing to the Foley sideline. Looks like Thompson may have to check out. He's running to the sideline.
Yeah, it's going to be an equipment violation. So when you go to the sideline with an equipment violation, maybe the knee pads were too high and something that they talk about early in the game to where you have to be properly and legally equipped, and he'll have to sit out for one play.
Matter of fact, Nelson Thompson has to sit out as well. So Ty Motes, the backup quarterback, steps in, but they're going to do a direct snap to Colton Nero. Their version of the Wildcat, the Lions' first play. They hand it off to Damian Marshall from Colton Nero, and boy, he is tackled for a loss. TFL in the house.
Great job, J.T. Busby. Coming down from his strong safety spot, the 6'2", 185-pound senior has 2 interceptions, but shows you that he can shoot the gap. And now down and distance-wise, 2nd down and 11 yards to go for the Foley Lions.
Now we're back to normal. Thompson back in the ball game. Under center. Looking to pass. Pass complete to Oaks, but he is immediately surrounded by Vikings. Maybe about a 2 to 3 yard pickup on the play. It's going to be 3rd and long coming up here for Foley.
Isaac Campbell and John Robinson both attacking and swarming the football, and now you do get an up close and personal look at that beef of that Foley offensive line. Now another 3rd down, the first one of the game for Foley. MGM had success out. Let's see if Foley's able to as well.
We'll call it 3rd and 7 here for the Lions. Looking for a play clock on the field.
It's on the field. It's kept on by the referees.
Because I don't see it. Perry Thompson in the flat, and he's surrounded immediately. Flag comes in at the end of that play. No gain with the pass from Thompson to Thompson.
And J.T. Busby, again, very active on that play, determined not to let Uno Thompson get loose. You can see as soon as he catches it, no yards after catch or contact being allowed by this stingy defense of the Vikings.
And good observation by you, Corey.
Block over here. Does he want? It'll be 4th down. Okay.
I love how Don English explained that.
That penalty's declined. 4th down.
So it is 4th down. But good observation by you, Corey. No play clock. I was wondering about that. So they're keeping the play clock down on the field. Our game clock is operational.
Brand new scoreboard here for the Vikings.
Beautiful.
And you look at defensive coordinator Alex Page only giving up 4.5 points per game here through 2 games throughout the season. And it's going to bring up a 4th down and right at 8 yards to go. We'll see if the Vikings here are able to capitalize on special teams, and I think Coach Scott is going to go ahead and bring the punting team on, and it's kind of they're playing chess with one another to make sure that everything's in order. And you always want to watch for that fake. We saw one in the Kansas City Chiefs game last night deep in their own territory, so you have to be aware of special teams.
Jarrell Lett setting up at the 50-yard line. He's going to take a couple steps back. Matt Owen on to punt. Now Owen running to the sidelines. I don't know if that may be an equipment issue or not.
Yes, that's exactly what that is.
He's looking down at his cleats.
His knee pads. Anytime you raise up those knee pads, you cannot do that. That's something the officials are really keeping an eye on and emphasizing this year, is making sure you're legally and properly equipped.
So they're sending in backup kicker Saldivar Josie. We saw him booming it as well before the game. Right now the pressure's on the young fella. Can he get this punt off successfully? Low snap. Nice kick. A knuckleball as Lett feels it at about the 47. Brings it up to the 45. MGM, great field position here. 1st and 10 on the Foley 45-yard line.
If you are an MGM Viking fan on that first possession for the Foley Lions, you couldn't even be more happier, because this Foley offense comes into the contest averaging 41 points per game. And you were able to hold them in that situation to where now MGM's already looking at their second offensive possession with 7:27 remaining here in the first quarter of action in plus field territory, already in Lions territory.
Speaking of points or contests, MGM, that offense averaging 30 points on offense so far this season. Good shot right there. One of our Threaded Fasteners impact players, senior quarterback Jared Hollins. They fake the handoff to Flowers, and they pass and get it out to Bolton. He picks up about 5 or 6 up to the 40. So 2nd and half of the distance, 2nd and 5 coming up here for MGM.
Jalen Domain, 5'10", 152-pound junior on the stop for the Foley Lions, but a nice, easy pass. You take what the defense is giving you. If they're giving you that much cushion, then you go ahead and go with the quick passes to the sidelines, and you have lots of yards after catch when you're able to do that.
Flowers in motion, direct snap to Jared Hollins as his forward progress is stopped at about the 44. I believe he's going to be 1 yard short of the first down. 3rd down coming up.
Another 3rd down possession. This is the third down so far here in the first quarter of action. MGM was able to convert earlier on that 6-play drive that led to 6 points on the board. We'll see if they're able to convert here on 3rd and short.
Two tight ends in for the Vikings, looking to be a run play. Play action, trying to go to Bolton. Oh, what a catch. He hauls it in at about the 2 or 3 yard line. Nice play call by Zach Golson, but there is a flag sitting right at the 33-yard line.
Ineligible down the field. You hate to see that. You see Hollins' accuracy as he finds his favorite wide receiver, James Bolton, makes the nice catch. The 6'2", 175-pound senior had his 7th reception, and now it's going to be brought back. So you go from 3rd down and 2 to backing it up a little bit.
Hey, Corey, our statistician Matt Moore is all too familiar with that call. He told me he had a touchdown call back yesterday in his Pillins ball game, a legal man downfield. So you could just see him squirming over there when the flag came out.
3rd and 7 now. It changes the play calling, but it does not change the explosiveness of James Bolton or Troy Flowers coming out of the backfield, and we will have our heat timeout.
Heat timeout right now, so let's check in with our 3rd member of the crew, Kimberly Dunn. She has a guest with her.
That's right. I'm here with MGM's principal, Principal Minton. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us tonight. Tell us about some of the exciting things going on here at Mary G. Montgomery.
Well, right now you see the crowd tonight, so that's very exciting. It's great to see the community support we get, and with our academics, with our athletics, I think we're headed in the right direction, so we're proud to see this tonight, and hopefully we'll continue on the field.
Now, I know our viewers are getting a great look at what your athletics have to offer, but what are some of the great things academically that MGM has to offer?
Well, we got our academies, but one of the big things that's really taken off the last couple of years is the dual enrollment. So our kids are able to get college credit. We got a lot of kids, a lot of students that are involved in our dual enrollment, and that's really been a big thing, and it helps the parents later on where they don't have to pay that college tuition, and we got a lot of kids that are getting a lot of good credits out of it. So that's been a big positive for us in the last couple of years.
And we talked about building up the community and the football team. Now this year, Mary G. Montgomery is actually ranked at the state level. What does that mean to you, to your school, to this community?
Well, as you know, as football goes, that's kind of how the school goes, and it creates a great atmosphere for the beginning of the year to continue on through the year, and it'll have an effect on everybody else, sports, all the athletics, and it's just a great honor, and the coaches have done a great job to this point of getting prepared, and I think we can continue and hopefully have a great season. I believe we will.
All right, thank you so much, Principal Minton. We wish you the best of luck.
Third down for the Vikings. Hollins is going to escape, and he has enough for the first down. You can look at the scramble ability of the young man. Corey, he made something out of nothing because Foley brought the heat then.
It's a young man who I would say that's his biggest gain from 1 year ago, being able to tuck it. And he wears number 7 for a reason. There's some guy named Vic that wore number 7 as well, and he's able to learn how to run like Vic. Also, another critical third down conversion for the MGM Vikings.
Before they could get that play off, we have a stoppage. Foley has called timeout, and as Principal Minton was being interviewed by Kimberly, we kind of stepped up and took a look at the crowd, and then you tapped me on the shoulder and said, look behind you. There are folks still coming into this ball game, Corey. It is huge, and we talked about this when you interviewed me today. It doesn't make a difference if MGM is 0-2, 0-8, 2-0, 8. The people in Sim support their Vikings every Friday night.
And now that you have an opportunity to even look at 3-0,
yeah,
it's going to be cheek to cheek here in the seats, and you have to get here early to go ahead and be a part of this wonderful atmosphere that is being created. And you talk about the revitalization of a program. The student body in this Sims population is continuing to grow.
Yeah,
and when it does so, you can see by the new scoreboard and the care in the field house and the sponsors and just the community support here in Sims is second to none.
It's huge. MGM is dressing out 120 players. They're returning 6 on offense, 6 on defense. And so far, this has been the largest class I've heard this year. Zach Golson says he has 32 seniors on this squad. 1st and 10, ball on the 33. MGM trying to knock on the door once again. Had an early score on a 35-yard pitch and catch from Golson to Harrell. Double stack receivers. Harrell goes into motion. They hand it off to the back. Troy Flowers, he picks up about 4, possibly 5. Zach Golson with the play calling, being consistent, mixing it up pretty good tonight.
Well, when you're able to go ahead and get to the line of scrimmage and get positive yardage early on down and distance, it makes a huge difference for the play calls of your offensive coordinator, Andrew Reeves and Zach Golson.
Press box operators calling it 2nd and 6. I'll go with that. Flowers moves to the left. Snap to Hollins, little play action. They set up a little delayed screen. Bolton can't go anywhere. The Lions step up, big tackle for loss right there as they shut down that 2nd down.
Well, outstanding job of staying home by corner Devin Collier, fighting off the block and making sure that the 6 foot, 170-pound senior comes away with a nice tackle in the open field. And now another 3rd down possession for MGM. We'll see if they're able to make it a true 4 for 4, Al.
In the hole right here, 3rd and 11. Hollins waiting on the snap. Empty set, he's just gonna dump it out. Overthrows Flowers. Cortez Pickens got his big paw up. It's 4th down coming up here for the Vikings. Coach Golson told me Aaron McCraney's range is about 30 and in, but he said he's capable of 40 depending on the situation.
Roll the dice right here.
This is not the situation to kick it.
I don't think that you flip the field. You're in no man's land right at the 33-yard line of the Lions. We'll see if the Lions have some bite in their defense right here.
Empty set. Flowers goes out to set up as well, and a flag, the official intimating that it will be a false start against MGM. Let's see what Don English has to say.
5 yards. Replay, fourth down.
So that's going to push the Vikings back 4 more yards. And let's see what Coach Golson and Coach Reeves decide to come up with. Offense staying on the field. As you can see, Holland's still out there.
4th down and 11, and where you want to go here is to James Bolton or Troy Flowers out of the backfield.
4th and 16. Ball at the 39-yard line. High snap, little pooch kick, little surprise pooch kick. Will it fall? Will it go into the end zone? It goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Look at Jared Hollins does his Mr. Magic impersonation and drops it in. Great play call right there by the Vikings.
A pooch punt to the 1-yard line by your quarterback. You could not have asked for a better punt in a better down and distance situation. You were in no man's land, 33 yards to go. You just gained 32 yards off a tremendous punt. And now you're pinning this Foley offense deep in its own territory. We'll see if this offensive line is able to get a nice push for Colton Neroy, or it'll wind up being a 99-yard touchdown to Uno Thompson.
Hand off to Nero as he hits the hole. And as you say, Corey, he hits the X button a couple times and spinning off a couple Vikings.
Love Colton Neroy's best versatility as a back. He runs with a low pad level, and you're going to have to make sure you wrap him up. Gang tackles are going to be required because when you have 235 pounds behind those pads, it's going to fall forward and not backwards. You're going to have to get a lot of hats to the football.
And there's the penalty right there against MGM. They had a sideline warning, and they have just enforced a penalty, 5 yards. So Nero picked up 6 on the run. That should be enough for a first down. It should move the sticks.
Got to have that get back, coach.
You're right about that. And Foley is out of the hole just like that.
And a fresh set of downs for the Foley Lions, which allows more room to operate for Colton Neroy. The young man has 555 yards rushing already through
2 games. They hand it back off to him once again, but he is met at the line by some Vikings. 2nd down, and we'll call it about 8 coming up here for the Lions.
Well, if you are MGM, you want to make sure that Colton Neroy needs a great ice bath after this game, regardless of how many carries he has. 2nd down and 7 yards to go for Foley and the offensive coordinator, Gary Johnston.
Trip receivers to the top for the Lions as they set up a little. Well, actually, Nero comes out on a wheel route, but boy, he is met immediately. And one of the Vikings players, he does hop up. He's not injured. What a lick they laid right there.
You have to make sure that you wrap up and tackle in space, and that's an outstanding job. As now we're looking here at the replay, and you can see you go low. That's how you kill a horse. Take the legs out from under. 3rd and 3.
High snap, they go back to Nero again. And look at fumble, ball is out. That's a fumble. It appears as if the Vikings are on it. We could have our first turnover tonight. And it is MGM's ball as someone punched that ball out. Nero had the first down, but he wasn't going down, but they got the ball out.
And Ty Moats injured on the play as he's able to make it to the sideline holding his left elbow. But if you look from behind, it's a strip, can opener drill. You just rip for the ball, and they're able to pry it loose. If we're able to look at that one more time, great defense. Can opener drill is what we call that from a defensive standpoint. Stripping it away when the ball is not high and tight to your body. Great job of making sure that it wasn't the point of impact. It was just stripping away at the ball.
Right, it looked like JT Busby might have got his paw up in there. That's a name Coach Golson said we need to be on the lookout for. That young man's doing a lot. Up the middle goes Flowers on first down. Turn of the tides here as Foley basically trying to get their offense going. It was a quick 3 and out for Foley. They had to punt it away, and then they get the ball back, and then they fumble. Our first turnover of the ball game.
Sam McClellan, the 6'1", 191-pound junior with the stop for the Lions.
2nd and 7, balls on the 31-yard line as we are under 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Al Whedon, Corley Bounty on the sideline, Kimberly Dunn giving you a top 10 matchup with Foley versus MGM. Hollins taking his time. He's got Bolton in the end zone. That is a touchdown to James Bolton, 31 yards, and Hollins strikes through the air again.
Pitch and catch, points off turnovers as well, finds his favorite target. You look at him, eyeballing him all the way, just rolls to the left. Beautiful spiral football, wide open toe tap for James Bolton, who strikes like a lightning bolt here in Sims, Alabama, making our score 13-0. You look at that being the first touchdown receiving for James Bolton this season.
It is.
And that's a nice connect, number 7 to number 2.
Kick is up, and it is good. MGM on top, 14-0, all over Foley.
There's a lot to like about Mobile County Public Schools.
What I enjoy about Mobile County School is the extra attention my teachers give us to help us learn.
Teachers are liking their access to technology, and students are liking the quality of their education.
I like the technology that's been incorporated into my education.
And since 1826, you have trusted us to prepare your child for their future, and we like that. Mobile County Public Schools. We are learning today, leading tomorrow.
Get ready this Monday. Mark your calendar, parents. There is no school for the kids. It's Teacher Workday this Monday, September 11th. Kids are out of school, but it is a Teacher Workday, so make sure you mark your calendar for that. And marking it up tonight, Jared Hollins, 2 touchdowns so far tonight, Corey. He is really doing it. 5 for 7 through the air for 69 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And that makes him have 5 passing touchdowns on the season. The South Alabama and Kane Womack have an absolute gem coming to them next year.
Oaks fills it again at his own 5-yard line. And he is hemmed up near the 14. We're going to take a look at that replay, Corey, if we can try to find where the DB lost his footing.
Great job of planting and going, and anytime you slip and there's a 10 yards differential, you know the turf monster must have jumped up and bit the defender, but look at the toe tap to make sure that it is a secured touchdown, an easy 6.
Right in front of our boy Deshaun from Fox 10. He's going to have a good highlight tonight.
Coming right in his living room, but more importantly now, trailing 14-0 for this Foley offense. Gary Johnston, this offense averages 305 yards per game, and coming off of that turnover, they want to make sure they secure it and answer this with a scoring drive.
Trip receivers to the top. They're setting up a screen for Perry Thompson, and they just played Uno on him. Tackle, no gain on that play. He got the reception, but he went nowhere.
When you storm to the football, Jalen Gray, free safety, 6'4", 210-pound senior, the first to the football. And you're going to see a lot of black jerseys and black hats surrounding all the ball carriers and all the wide receivers. Here, we'll see if Foley's able to stretch this MGM defense vertically at all down the field.
Speaking of the black jerseys, this is our 3rd week in a row. The home team has worn a black jersey, and both the home teams are undefeated. Nero up the middle, picks up about 3, and that's going to be 3rd down already for the Lions, and their offense hasn't produced hardly anything so far tonight in the ballgame.
Well, you do see a great stop for this Viking squad, and the officials are talking about something because we do have a stoppage in play.
Personal foul against Foley. That's not what they needed at that time. That's going to push him back 15. It'll be 2nd and long coming up here for the Lions.
45-19 winners over Prattville, 37-24 wins over Baldwin County. That's how Foley gets to 2-0 so far here on this young 2023 season. But that personal foul call is not one that you want, because again, it backs you back up into negative territory, your own territory, and you're looking at taking over right here close to the 7-yard line, your own 7-yard line.
Good. 16 to go.
Tackle for a loss on the play. This Vikings defense is on fire tonight.
Jerry Ouellette, 5'9", 170-pound senior, able to get off of that block, because all you need is one block to try to get your wide receivers in open space. If you're not able to get off of that block, you're going to be in trouble. Now, it's 3rd and 16 for the Foley Lions coming out of this first quarter of action.
That's going to wrap it up for the first quarter. Totally dominated by MGM, on top by 14 points.
Do you feel alone, overwhelmed, or helpless?
There's hope. There's hope. Call or text 988.
You don't have to face your crisis alone. If you need a safe space to talk with a trusted adult for support, reach out to your school counselor.
Do you need help to make it through everyday struggles? Do you need someone to talk to?
Call or text 988. Your social emotional wellness is worth it.
Remember, there's hope, there's help.
Hey Alexa, tell me about Mobile County Public Schools.
With 53,000 students in 90 schools, Mobile County Public Schools equips and empowers college and career-ready graduates. Several MCPSS schools are ranked among Alabama's top 10. Yearly, graduating students earned about $110 million in college scholarships and 10,000 career credentials. MCPSS is learning today, leading tomorrow. Does that answer your question?
Thank Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs and save more lives. A portion of subs purchased at Firehouse will go to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. So visit our friend Neil Patel at the Greenlight Road Firehouse Subs location today. Also, we want to thank BSN Sports, where you can get team apparel and equipment from badminton to wrestling and all sports in between. BSN Sports, the heart of the game, online at bsnsports.com. Quite an interesting first quarter. We're going to try to get those stats up for you. And look at the total yards for Foley, Corey, 23. Now, it didn't help they just had a 15-yard penalty as well. But total domination right here by Mary Montgomery.
When you start to focus on 41 points per game or 305 yards per game, you know that's something that defensive coordinator Alex Page really harped on this entire week. Not going to get any easier entering the second quarter, as we're looking at 3rd and 20 now by Foley.
4 for 20 for penalties for the Vikings, but it hasn't hurt them at all. A pretty equal attack there, 61 on the ground and 69 through the air. So a very even balance for Foley, and for MGM, 1 turnover for the Lions.
Points off turnovers
as
well. So as we start the second quarter of action for this MGM Vikings defense, Foley has to be very wary here and make sure that there's not a safety here in this situation. Don't want to get called with holding in the end zone. You try to go one-on-one to Perry Thompson if available, and if you're going to shade, you need to make sure that you double team Perry, and I think we're going to have a timeout coming out of this.
Timeout called on the field. While we have a break, let's take a look at our player spotlight. Not what we're used to seeing from Colton Nero, as he's averaging 277 yards a game right now, 3 carries for 15 yards. And look at Jared Hollins, 5 for 7, 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh, I'll throw it in, Corey. He's got a 32-yard pooch punt as well.
Not only that, Colton Neroy has that one fumble that he would love to have back.
That turnover, right.
Mr. Hollins has definitely been handling business, as you get a great shot of his leadership ability on the sidelines, engaging with his teammates, and a phenomenal young man. You mentioned his values that he has, his family values, and wanting to stay close to home.
Right.
6'4", 190-pound senior, again, has wanted to become a little bit more electric from running the football, and we've been able to see him do that as well. he busted a 60-plus yard run against Williamson in the first game of the season.
You got to witness that one.
And turned on the Jets now. Here it is, 3rd and 20. We'll get a chance to see Alex Page defense, who's only given up 4.5 points per game, pin the ears back of these Foley Lions.
Perry Thompson comes into the backfield. They're going to hand off to Thompson. Now he can get electric with it. He's out to the edge and picks up some of that 20 yards. Nice gain right there by the Lions. Basically takes the heat off their punter, Matt Owen, to give him some breathing room to come out and get this punt off.
Well, you have to find a way to let your playmakers touch the football, whether it's receiving or rushing. And you look now with Perry Uno Thompson, he has already rushed the ball 5 times this year, make that number 6. He has 1 rushing touchdown, but you mentioned just a little breathing room, and the Vikings are going to try to capitalize offensively now. Jerry Ouellette deep for the Vikings.
Owen setting up at his own 8-yard line to get this punt off. Kind of does it rugby style. Nice punt. Punts it away from Lett. And they're going to mark it at about 47-yard line of MGM. So decent field position here for the Vikings, almost near midfield. When they had their last possession, they took over at the 45-yard line of Foley after the punt. So kind of decent field position here as the Vikings come onto the field. Their first possession of the second quarter.
David Parker for AHSFHS.org does a wonderful job of putting out stats on his website. I'll give that particular stat coming here after this play.
Hand off to Flowers. Cuts it opposite field. He's got room. Goes into Lions territory, pushed out of bounds near the 30-yard line.
MGM 32-1 since 2000 when allowing less than 10 points, and they are 5-64 when scoring less than 10 points since 2000. So the magic number is to score more than 10 and to allow less than 10. And so far, things are going great for MGM.
Unfortunately, a flag is going to negate a lot of that run due to a hold against the Vikings and inopportune time. That's their 5th penalty of the game tonight, and we know one of those penalties was a sideline warning. So that's going to push MGM back to their own 40-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 20 coming up here for the Vikings.
Well, they had success finding Bolton out of a nice route, making the defender fall down. We'll see if they're able to go back to that or keep it on the ground.
They go back to Flowers' correction, those 1st and 18. He gets it past the original line of scrimmage and back into Lions territory. Look at Troy Flowers running that ball tonight.
5'11", 190-pound senior. He has 125 yards and 1 rushing touchdown on the season. So he's also a very versatile back out of the backfield. 7 receptions for 158 yards. And you're able to pick up half of that penalty yardage back. 2nd down and close to 6 yards to go.
One thing coming up, the offensive line for MGM averages 244 pounds. The Foley Lions, they only average 218. As Hollins with the quarterback keeper picks up a couple. It'll be 3rd and we'll call it 3 or maybe a long 2 coming up here for the Vikings. Well, another one of those 3rd downs you talked about, Corey.
And Derek Scott, the head coach and defensive coordinator as well. This Foley defense giving up 21.5 points per game, but it does bring up one of those magic 3rd downs. We call it money down. We'll see if the Vikings are able to cash in on this 3rd and short.
Hollins looks over to the sideline for the call. Has time, flushed out of the pocket. He's got Bolton deep. Bolton waits on it, and the ball drops through the basket.
That's something that you won't see a lot of, folks. James Bolton with an opportunity to catch that football, took his eye off of it at the last moment. Great job by Jared Hollins being flushed out to his right, puts the ball on the money, and as he's waiting on it, he turns around. He just could not squeeze the pigskin, a little bit too much grease on that.
I'm going to take up for him. Corey, he lost it in the lights.
We'll say he lost it in the lights with no problem. Something that you won't see often, but 4th and 3, you can still decide to go for it right here as you are in Lions territory at their own 46.
Direct snap coming up here as they run behind Shondell Harris. He's going to be short by a couple of yards. The Lions bow up. The defense stiffens up. It's going to be a ball over on downs. Let's take a look at the region standings here in 7A Region 1. Not too much action taking place because this is the first correction. I'm sorry, we're looking at the polls. I thought we were going with a region play. As you can see right there, in 7A, Thompson leads the pack, all 21st place votes. And our matchup tonight, as you see, 8 at MGM, 9 with Foley. Baker and Fairhope just outside of the top 10 looking in. Big ball game at Baker tonight, Corey. It's their homecoming. They're hosting Davidson.
We'll see if they're able to slow down DJ Butler. We'll see if MGM's able to keep the goose egg on the board for the Lions.
Pass out to Perry Thompson. He's all covered up. All the Lions are calling for a flag, but no dirty yellow rag on the field. It'll be 2nd down.
And what you do is you start trying to find your playmakers. If you're the Foley offense, offensive coordinator Gary Johnston, we mentioned moments ago, this Foley offense comes in averaging 41 points per game. And we will have an injury timeout on the field.
A Viking down right on the field. I believe that may be Shondell Harris. It looks like number 18. We're going to assist him up.
Yes.
He'll be able to walk off with his own power. Just coming up a bit gimpy right there. So Harris will come out on defense. Let's see if they'll put Skylar Bush over there in that other corner spot to replace Harris. 2nd down coming up here for the Lions.
Well, you need to keep an eye on that because if you're the offensive coordinator, wherever the defensive player goes down, that's where you want to try to attack. And especially now being right at 2nd down and 10, we'll see if the Lions are able to find a way to capitalize and find their playmakers ways to catch the football.
Ty Mokes goes into motion. He's going to block. Nero met at the line. This Vikings defense is quite impressive, as we talked about it, only giving up 4.5 points a game, but they are really rocking the Lions tonight. I mean, they have a huge line at 324 pounds, but it's not impeding, it's not hurting MGM at all.
No, and now you're looking at another 3rd and long, 3rd and 9 for Foley, and you must find a way to get your playmaker the football. And Perry Uno Thompson not even in this lineup. This trips to the right and one single to the left, Al. He's
Thompson,
not on the field.
He's not out there. Nelson Thompson back to pass. He needs to get rid of it. That ball does not go past the line of scrimmage. It appeared as if he was in the tackle box. I don't see any flags for grounding, but that ball did not make it to the line of scrimmage.
And I am looking at Perry Thompson on the sideline talking to his head coach. So he was not on the field on that 3rd down and long. And here it is, 4th and 9 upcoming for the Foley Lions. And we'll see here if the explosiveness is being able to be shown by this MGM Viking special teams and Jerry Ouellette.
Matt Owen on to punt again. Ouellette sets up at his own 24. Owen has time, he gets it off. Ouellette stays away from it, so Foley's going to down it at about the 22 or 23. Decent punt right there by the Lions, but another 3 and out. Ball over back to MGM.
And what you have to start taking a look at is the amount of time that this Foley defense has been out on the field here in the first half. And I know that right now it's right at 81 degrees, but the humidity that has struck earlier in the day it starts to take a toll on you eventually, and we'll see here if it does make a difference in this drive. And what you have not seen is looking for a deep ball on first down yet by the Vikings. Haven't seen Hollins crank it up to Bolton, take that kill shot on first down. We'll see if they're able to stretch the field.
Let's see if your prognostication may come true. Empty set here. One tight end, he stays in to block. Hollins has time. Corey, I think you've been digging in the playbook. Going to Bolton, flag on the play, thrown on the far side by Lonnie Eaton. And that possibly could be some PI. Corey, have you been moonlighting with the Vikings in the playbook, brother?
I tell you, Al, that's just a great play call by Andrew Reeves and Zach Golson, who shared the duties at offensive coordinator position. You're right where you want to be field territory-wise. Go ahead and take that long shot. You have Foley's defense on the field for a long time. The pass interference will give you a free first down.
Don English signals against Foley, but they're walking backwards, all the players. Now we're going to go the other way.
And if you see what you like with the one-on-one coverage, by all means, go right back to it, because you're able to go ahead and test the defensive back's ability. And the intermediate routes can be run as well by this Vikings offense, as Hollins commands this offense masterfully.
Fake to Thompson, handoff. Hollins has time, scrambles outside. Pass intended to Shaborn Oaks. Goes through his hands, so it'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up for MGM.
An opportunity here when you still look at the playbook. You have Troy Flowers to where if you get that push offensively that you can still go with. And we saw Caden Harrell, the tight end, score his first touchdown, so you must eyeball him as well.
Jet sweep to Flowers as he cuts across, but he is leveled by Darion Autry coming from his Mike linebacker position. It's going to be 3rd and a decent amount. We'll call it about 3rd and 6, maybe 3rd and 7 coming up here for MGM.
Again, right where you want to be, 3rd and 6, having a very skilled veteran quarterback commanding this offense, and he can scramble. We saw him earlier turn it up for a first down, but another 3rd down possession for the Vikings.
Pass incomplete to Flowers. He leaked out of the backfield. So it'll be 4th down here for MGM. They've done all their scoring in the first quarter as we're almost to the halfway point of the second quarter, up 14-0 over Foley. And McCraney comes back on to punt once again for the Vikings.
One of those that you would love to have back if you're a Hollins and Flowers, because that wheel route in the flat was wide open, and we'll see here what type of special teams coverage the Vikings come up with and what kind of return that Perry Thompson may be able to provide for the Lions.
Nice punt by McCraney. I think Thompson was possibly going to try to catch it on the hop. Is going backwards, so the Vikings are going to down it at about the 32 or 33-yard line. So pretty much, Corey, all of our action here in the second quarter has kind of been between the 10s and the 20s for the most part, but no team really progressing.
No red zone area action at all here in the second quarter of action here in Sims, Alabama. And I will say this, the Lions need to go ahead and put a string of first downs together, and they need to try to reestablish the offensive line dominance and find a way to get number 1, the football.
Nelson Thompson waiting for the snap, throws it to Perry Thompson, and he is surrounded immediately. Look at the gang tackling by the Vikings, something they have done all night tonight, running to the ball, getting to the ball.
And when you do give that playmaker the football, Perry Uno Thompson, the 5-star wide receiver who is verbally committed to the Auburn Tigers, you'll see 5 and 6 hats coming to the football. We call that biting the football. It is exactly what you want to see if you're defensive coordinator Alex Page.
2nd and 6 coming up here for the Lions. Perry Thompson inches up to the line. They hand it off to Nero, and he runs into one of his backers. That slows his progress, and boom, just like that, he's tackled for about a 2-yard gain, maybe a 1.5 yards. So we'll call it 3rd and about 6 coming up here for the Lions. They could really go for a 3rd down conversion at this point in the ball game.
Caleb Morris, the 6'3", 245-pound sophomore, at the bottom of that pile, withholding the feet and the legs, waiting for the other black hats to attack, and that's exactly what you're seeing. 3rd and 7. We'll see if this offense can string at least one 1st down together to keep the offense on the field.
Shaborn Oaks goes to the top of the formation.
And no help here at the bottom of your screen. One-on-one coverage. We'll see if Thompson runs a deep route.
Led on Thompson. They give it to Nero. He goes behind that big line, cuts it outside. He has the 1st down as he is tackled on the other side of the 50 at about the 48 or 49 of MGM. So Foley into the Vikings territory.
Anthony Casino, the 6'3", 220-pound senior, with the stop defensively for the Vikings, and we're right under the heat timeout. 5:57 remaining in the 2nd quarter of action.
Our 2nd heat timeout of the night. Our 2nd check-in with Kimberly Dunn.
Hey, I'm here with the school board commissioner for District 1, Doug Harwell. Thank you so much for talking with us. Now, for those who may not know, what schools are included in District 1?
Yeah, I have a couple of high schools from Central, Mary Montgomery, then Sims Middle School, and then Jay Turner, Tanner Williams, Wilmer, Sims, Allentown. Then it goes down to Taylor White, O'Rourke, and I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Is there anything new and exciting going on in these schools? I know that you talked a little bit about the growth. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so the county school system, we're growing, especially out West Mobile, especially out here in the Sims area and all West Mobile. And, you know, we have plans for maybe a new school out towards between us and Baker. And so just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people moving out this way. Great place to live. You know, if you look around tonight, and you know, just like the city of Sims and the school system have come together and working hard together to create a great atmosphere, do the same thing in Central now. So, great place to move to if you want to move.
Now, I know that MGM specifically and Sims has a very special place in your heart. So, what does this game mean to you? What does this community mean to you?
So, I graduated from Mary Montgomery in '83. We're actually having our 40th class reunion this year. And my 3 boys graduated here from Mary Montgomery, so they all played football here. It's been I was actually on the Booster Club for 13 years here, so it's just a great place where we just like to spend our time here.
Now, Mary Montgomery is actually ranked in the state. What do you think about that? What does that mean to you, to this community?
Well, it's another one of those things where you get buy-in from the city, the school system, and the community coming together, and it's been a great thing. And Coach Zach, he's done a really good job, and Chip Minton and the staff here at the school, and just everybody. Booster Club, a quarterback club, everybody's pitched in is great, yeah.
Now, something I heard that were added in some of your schools in the district, you now have sheriffs. So what's kind of the purpose of that, and why is that important?
So adding the sheriffs is something we've been trying to work on for last 3 or 4 years. You know, we want to get our resource officers armed because of state stuff going on. We wasn't able to do that. And so having these sheriffs on our campuses is for safety. And the big thing that I look at again is being there on the campus with our kids and show that the sheriff's department, those police department are friends, and so they get to understand that those guys are on our, the good guys. So we're looking forward to that happening. Yes.
And last thing, I actually saw on the news that you're running for commissioner. So we wish you the best of luck for that, and hope that you have a great run, and we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kimberly. A possible interception drop right there by Landon Urban. Corey, that one landed right in the basket, but Urban couldn't hold on to it.
Well, it's almost good that he did not, because when you look at the field position, now go ahead and make them punt it on 4th down. The punt may not go. If he would have intercepted that football, it would have been right around the 13-yard line or so, but it does bring up 4th down and 10 for the Foley offense, and the Vikings will have an opportunity to let Mr. Lett have another return here. The last one was downed, and we'll see here if this Foley defense is able to come away with a stop before we go to the half.
No turnovers, no points this quarter so far. 5 minutes left in the half. Nice punt by Owen, forces Lett back. And Corey, from the judge of it, if Urban had grabbed that interception, they'd have been about the same spot right there.
Almost identically.
He would have done the job for Matt Owen. Look at that. Great punt by the young man from the Lions. So 1st and 10 coming up here for MGM. 4:45 remaining in the first half. Ball's going to be placed at about the 15-yard line. And let's see what will come about. Well, you dug into the playbook and you called for the kill shot. They went for it last time but couldn't execute it, Corey.
4:45 remaining here in the second quarter of action. What you want to do here is have a nice deliberate drive. Some 86 yards is what you're trying to put together to put 6 on the board. And if you are as efficient as they were in that first offensive drive where they had 6 plays that only took 2.5 minutes, it will equate in 6 points. But what you want to do is try to control the clock and not give Foley an opportunity to get this football back.
Nice carry right there by Troy Flowers. Gets up to about the 20-yard line. 2nd and 4 coming up here for the Vikings.
So it'll be 2nd and about 4 to go.
Hand off to Flowers once again. Goes over the left side.
Easy call.
Flags come in at the end of the play.
Yeah, that's an easy call, and if it is called against the Vikings, it's something that you don't want to see, because what you were trying to do is ground and pound on this possession. Don't want to put yourself down and distance behind the sticks, and that's one of the things for my checklist, staying on target, staying on schedule. And when you're not on schedule there, that's tough. Also a sideline
warning.
That's going to be the first
Foley.
Against Foley.
Right.
We've already had 2 being called against MGM that have resulted in a 5-yard penalty.
The second one resulted in a penalty. I believe that's their first warning for the Lions. But they're going to walk off this holding penalty. That'll negate that run by Flowers right there. Get the call here from Don English. So it will be 2nd down, but 2nd down and long coming up for the Vikings as they place the ball at the 5-yard line.
Ball is.
We'll call it 2nd down and right around 13 yards to go. But what you're looking at, Al, is you want to value the football. You want to make sure you don't turn it over. 2nd and long, you want to have good decisions with the football and make sure that you are securing it at all times, because you know Foley's going to be ripping and prying away at the pigskin.
That's correct. Flowers just to the left of Hollins. They go back to him. The guards pull. He goes the opposite way, picks up a couple just past the original line of scrimmage. So within about 3rd and 9 coming up here for MGM. I'm sure not what Zach Golson wanted on this possession. When you said it, Corey, they need a good 4-minute drive to eat the clock, go into the locker room with the lead, not giving up any points, as we're approaching 3 minutes and a 3rd and 9 coming up here for the Vikings.
And here's where you can really open up the playbook. You don't necessarily have to run this football, because when you look at the ability of Hollins to command this offense, he's able to find open wide receivers.
They throw it out to Flowers, set up a little tunnel screen for him. He gets up to about the 20. That's not enough to get the 1st down, so it'll be 4th down coming up for the Vikings.
20-yard line. Be 4th down and 4 to go.
Great crowd here tonight at Charles Leverett Field for this top 10 matchup. We saw Hollins do a pooch punt earlier. No one back setting up and punt. So now they're going to run McCreaney onto the field. Maybe they were trying to draw Foley off. It was 4th and 4.
Yes.
So offsides would have given them the first down. Perry Thompson runs out too.
Student fan base here is phenomenal, and we'll get a nice punt.
There's McCreaney, nice punt, goes over the head of Perry Thompson. And look at the roll. MGM finally gets a roll tonight as they're going to down it at about the 30-yard line of Foley. As you like to say, Corey, they flipped the field.
That's exactly what you have to do if you're going to give up the football and not be able to sustain a 4-minute drive. You want to go ahead and flip it, and now you're asking your defense to come away with a huge stop. Must stay focused, know where number 1 is at all times, and not allow number 11, Colton Neroy, the leading rusher in the state of Alabama coming into this game through 2 games. You can't allow him to bust a big one.
Foley and MGM have met 30 times. Foley leads the series 24-6 and have won the last 4 meetings, two of which have went to overtime. So 1st and 10, the ball on the 30-yard line. Let's see what Foley's going to do. Down 14 points with 2:11 remaining in the first half. Their offense really hasn't gotten off to much tonight as they continue to try to run to get Colton Nero off, and the Vikings continue to hem him up.
Outstanding job of tackling by this Viking defense in the first half, and you have to have a sense of urgency or sense of tempo here if you're this Foley offense. You do have the ability to go to your big playmaker, Perry Thompson, at the top of the screen.
Back to Nero again. He runs it up the middle, and like a big clog, it just clogs up, puts several Vikings in on the tackle.
And you have not seen tonight the Vikings, when they're around the football and a number 11 in white, there not be 2 or 3 or 4 black hats that are coming to the football. 1:18 remaining here, Al, and it's going to bring up another long 3rd and 7 for the offensive coordinator, Gary Johnston.
Timeout called by MGM.
Good timeout, because what they want to do is try to get the football back, but offensive coordinator Gary Johnston averaging 305 yards per game here in the first half. Don't even have over 80 yards total offense yet here in the first half.
I think we may have another slight delay, Corey. The game clock is now reading 10 minutes and 30 seconds. They just adjusted. While we got a break, let's put up the region standings here for 7A Region 1. As we said at the top of the broadcast, this is the first region ball game for both of these schools, and this is an interesting situation. Everyone in the region are playing each other except for Fairhope. MGM's playing Foley tonight. Baker's hosting Davidson, and Daphne's traveling to Bryant. Fairhope is playing Pensacola Catholic, so this is a 7-team region, so they're the odd team out tonight. So tonight really makes a big start for the season in region play for these 2 teams tonight, and it's coming in ranked in the top 10 as well.
We'll see if this Viking defense can stand up and have a huge stop here on 3rd and 7.
Thompson has time, unloads it, intercepted by the Vikings, and taking it to the house with a touchdown. Devin Petway, outside linebacker. Points off turnovers. A fumble tonight led to points, and an interception, a pick 6 by Devin Petway.
He reads the quarterback's eyes as the quarterback just looks down. The star position, Devin Petway, 6'2", 205 sophomore, drops back in coverage, reads Nelson Thompson's eyes. Great job of making sure that he had a convoy in front of him, and points before the half, not scored by Foley, but by MGM. And as you mentioned, if they make this point after, it will be 14 points scored off of Foley turnovers.
McCraney's point after is up and good, and you're correct, Corey. 14 points off turnovers have led to a 21-0 lead for MGM.
Did you know that missing 2 days of school per month
has a negative effect on student achievement?
And that chronic absenteeism is negatively impacting
1 out of every 10 Alabama students.
Studies show students who are chronically absent are more likely to drop out of school. For every 1 day your child is absent from school, it takes 3 days for them to catch up.
So if I am not sick, make sure I'm at school, because missing school means missing out.
MGM on top 21-0. Here's that replay, Corey.
Great job of dropping back in coverage and reading the eyes of Nelson Thompson. And look at the convoy that he has to the end zone. It's close to a 44-yard touchdown interception. Pick 6 to the house here. Another 6 on the board for this MGM Viking defense now that is getting involved. And I mentioned, I know that had to make defensive coordinator Alex Page extremely happy with the way that his star linebacker did his job in coverage and read the quarterback's eyes.
I mean, that defense has been putting in a lot of work, so why can't they get on the board tonight? They've been stopping and shutting down Colton Nero, one of our spotlight players, and he hasn't accumulated very much yardage due to that defense being quite stingy. And there they are again. They strip it out. I don't know if he was marked down or not.
He is down.
Side official walks up and said he is down at about the 27-yard line. But look at that defense on the spot tonight.
Shaborn Oaks gets rocked, folks, on this kickoff return. And you look at them being able to strip that football away. The can opener drill being taught by Alex Page and his defensive staff on every possession in which there's an upright runner. But a tremendous job here by MGM in the first half, taking advantage of points off turnovers.
Score scrolling in at the bottom of the screen right there. Baker on top doing homecoming. A surprise in Pritchard. Citronelle on top of Viger, 14-7 in the second quarter. As we're about to almost wrap up the second quarter in the first half here. 69 seconds remain. Trip receivers to the top. Perry Thompson just kind of playing decoy at the bottom, Corey, and another interception. Pick 6 once again.
He's going to be 1 yard short. 1 yard short.
Oh, he's 1 yard short. He was brought down. Another interception.
Outstanding
by
job.
Thompson.
Casino drops from his defensive end position to 6'3", 220-pound senior. You look at him dropping back, gets his big hands up, reads the quarterback's eyes and says, "Thank you, I have a special delivery," down to the 1 yard, tried to make the house call. Great job of stopping him from making it, but wow. Another turnover.
Nice tackle by Nelson Thompson.
Well, if you're going to turn it over, you want to at least make it so it's not a pick 6, but short yardage situation here coming up. A goal line situation at the 1 yard line now for MGM, as you are looking defensively for the MGM Vikings. Devin Petway slow to walk off the field with the training staff. But another phenomenal job by this Alex Page defense, swarming to the football, 1st and goal.
Hollins runs out onto the field late. Possibly look for a fade route or quarterback keeper up the middle. Hollins just going to pick a hole. And he penetrates the end zone. Touchdown, Jared Hollins. And just like that, on one play, they easily hit pay dirt. 1 yard run by Jared Hollins accounts for his 3rd touchdown of the night.
Phenomenal offensive push up front. And Hollins, when he turns it up, he is 5 yards back, has a head full of steam. John Stevens, Braden Gartman, Kendall Bowens, J.D. Moore, and Kyle Thomas making room for their quarterback to add 6 more. So what we've had is 14 points amassed in some 30 seconds defensively for the MGM Vikings rising to the occasion.
Extra point up and good. More points off turnovers for MGM. Unbelievable. They have just opened up on Foley tonight. We got to thank Firehouse Subs for feeding the crew tonight, so make sure you enjoy more subs and save more lives. A portion of subs purchased at Firehouse will go to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, so make sure you visit our friend Neil Patel over on Greenlight Road at the Firehouse Subs location. Also, thanks to BSN Sports for hooking us up with the gear where you can get team apparel and equipment from basketball to volleyball. All sports in between, they got you covered. It's BSN Sports, the heart of the game, online at bsnsports.com. Speaking of heart, the Vikings' heart is definitely in it tonight, Corey. 21 points off turnovers tonight. Totally in control, 28-0. I said it earlier, we didn't have any scoring in the second quarter under our heat timeout, and it has just exploded in the last 2 minutes.
When we get a chance to look at this MGM crowd on their sidelines, again, as they're about to approach halftime, the only gaps you will see are for those that are getting ready to buy concessions. Other than that, it is elbow to elbow from the MGM sidelines. Sims folks showing up and showing out and are very pleased with this 28-0 lead that the Vikings have over the Lions.
Craney booms it. Oaks fills it at about the 12. Puts his foot in the dirt and cuts back and immediately goes to the sidelines because the Vikings were chasing after him. 43.3 seconds remaining here in the first half. A half totally controlled by the MGM Vikings, not only offensively but defensively. They wanted to make themselves known as well tonight.
Well, they have made themselves known, and I guarantee defensive coordinator Alex Page don't know who's happier at this point in time, because I mentioned earlier, Kurt Page is the quarterback mentor for the phenomenal quarterback Jared Hollins of MGM, and both Alex Page and Kurt Page have to be extremely happy with the scoreboard right now for MGM.
Double stack receivers. Direct snap to Perry Thompson as Foley's trying to find something on offense to get it going. That picked up maybe 2 or 3. Second down, the clock continues to run, possibly coming up on our last play of the first half here.
You bring in Thompson at quarterback to try to find some type of explosive play, and he's going to attempt his second pass of the season, and yards after contact heading to that sidelines. The clock will be stopped with 11.4 seconds remaining.
Pass
and
completed to Shaborn Oaks from Thompson.
Perry Uno Thompson, 2 out of 2 from the quarterback position this season so far, but a lot of yardage to pick up here. And if you're Coach Derek Scott, what you have to make sure of here is that your team does not turn the ball over for a 4th time here in the first half of action.
Thompson still in at quarterback. Correction, Perry Thompson still in at quarterback. Direct snap to Perry Thompson. Up the middle he runs as he is met at the 25-yard line. That's going to take us to the end of the first half. Foley will receive the kickoff in the second half as they decline. And wow, what a first half put together by the MGM Vikings. Corey.
It's been one in which defense has been dominant. Points off of turnovers, 21 points off of those turnovers by the Foley Lions. And when you look at the command that the offense has had, the opening drive, the third down conversions, it's been one to where when you're going into halftime, if you're Derek Scott, you say, look, guys, we have 24 minutes of football in front of us. There's no quit in us. If you're a head coach, you're saying, look, if I'm MGM, I've got to find a way to finish 4 quarters.
Let's take it down to Kimberly Dunn on the sidelines.
Coach Golson, you talked before the game started about how your team needed to come out strong, and it seems like they've done that so far tonight. What are you going to continue to do in order to hopefully keep the lead and win this ball game?
Yeah, we started fast like we wanted to. Defense is playing lights out. I mean, Colton Nero and Perry Thompson are great football players, and right now we're throwing a shutout. So can't say enough about those guys. Had a few series where we had some lapses on offense, but, obviously we're really pleased with where we are. Got to go play a good second half. I mean, that's the message right here, is go make sure that we do our job in the second half.
A name we've heard a lot tonight is Holland. Can you just talk about the type of player he is and what impact he's made so far?
Yeah, he's playing great. He's making good decisions, getting the ball to the right guy. We had a few drops, but other than that, we're playing pretty good football. Had a few penalties, got to clean that stuff up. But like I said, we're playing good ball. Just got to keep doing it in the second half.
Yeah. And as you go and talk to your team, what are you going to say to continue to motivate them, and what adjustments are you going to make to come in and finish this game?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we just want to be the best version of ourselves. And so if we focus on that, everybody do their job, be the best version of yourself, then good things are going to happen to us.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. I'll let you get with your team.
Great comments right there from Coach Zach Golson. He said they had some little hiccups with the offense in the second quarter, but the defense rose up, kind of gave them some rejuvenation, Corey.
And that's what you have to have. It's just one pulling the other. When one struggles, the other one rises up to the opportunity. And the MGM Vikings want to finish 4 quarters of football, so we'll see the adjustments that are made as he just spoke on.
All right, we have more football headed your way, but right now we have halftime, and the visiting Foley Lions, they're on the field getting ready for their halftime presentation. Let's take it down to the field.
And now, on the field from Foley, Alabama, performing their 2023 production as the clock ticks. Foley High School is proud to present the Mighty Band from Lionland. Executive Director of Bands, David Samuel. Associate Directors are Jimmy O'Kane, Michael Roy, Michael Whitaker, and Mary Barnes. Guard Directors are Todd Stair and Heather Perrin. The Principal is Jessica Webb, and the Superintendent is Eddie Tyler. Thank you and have a great evening. Go Lions!
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers share knowledge which helps shape and mold our future leaders.
Teachers show direction and help build a sense of purpose.
Are you ready to make a change? For more information on teaching opportunities, teacher incentives, or to apply with the Mobile County Public Schools, log on to www.mcpss.com.
I'm Keith Blackwood, your Mobile County District Attorney. I want to remind you about the truancy laws. 5 unexcused absences requires you to attend the Early Warning Truancy Program. Failure to attend the Early Warning Truancy Program can cause you to appear before a judge in circuit court. We need you to stay in school. This is a serious law, and it needs to be taken very seriously. I wish you and your family a safe, happy, and successful school year.
Ready. Time to resume halftime with the mighty marching Vikings from MGM.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mary G. Montgomery Viking Band. The Viking Band is under the direction of Jason Warren, Sarah Thomas, Danielle Bobbin, Clara Neese, and Rochelle Havard. The Viking Band would like to thank A. Schillinger Self-Storage for their continued support.
We're here with our Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge, and I have two lucky people that are going to answer our question this week. Can you tell me your names and what grade you're in?
My name is Shayla Miller, and I am 12th grade.
My name is Braden Meekum, and I'm also in 12th grade.
Awesome. So seniors on the cheer squad, right? All right, can you tell me a little bit about what on tonight? We saw some, I think y'all call them Tiny Vikings out here tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Tiny Vikings is a program that MGM Cheer puts on to get the little kids more involved with cheer.
We helped out. We had one boy actually tonight, which we could have more, so we kind of showed him a little bit about what we do. Because, we don't do many motions and many cheers, but we yell, and he liked it, so that's all that matters.
I saw you lifting him on your shoulders, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Are y'all ready for our trivia question this week? And just to remind our viewers, they will win an awesome Chick-fil-A prize pack that has lots of goodies in it from Chick-fil-A and also Mobile County. So here we go. The Mount Rushmore National Memorial is a memorial centered on a colossal structure carved into the granite face of Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills. The sculpture features the 60-foot tall heads of 4 United States presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Which state is Mount Rushmore located in? Is it A, South Dakota, B, North Carolina, C, Alabama, or D, West Virginia? All right, I'm going to give y'all a second to think about it. All right, you got your answer? Let's see.
I think we're going to go with West Virginia.
D, West Virginia. That is not correct. All right, you going to give it another try? All right, I'm going to let y'all talk about it just a second. So we've narrowed it down to either South Dakota, North Carolina, or Alabama. Are y'all ready? All right, here we go.
South Dakota.
That is correct. South Dakota. So you are the winners of our lovely Chick-fil-A prize pack. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us, to tell us about the Tiny Vikes, and best of luck your senior year.
Bye. Go Vikes.
Thank you, Kimberly. We appreciate that. We're going to take a break and come back and look at first half stats and an update on our spotlight players. MGM on top, 28-0.
It's your time, it's your season, and you are made for more. More confidence, more style, and more bling. The Genuine Bling is here to deliver you more bling and more fashion. With new styles added daily, you can shop anytime and look fabulous. Join me, Charmaine Watson, on the $5 Frenzy every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live. It's cute, it's fabulous, it's fashionable, it's $5, it's paparazzi.
Hey Alexa, tell me about Mobile County Public Schools.
With 53,000 students in 90 schools, Mobile County Public Schools equips and empowers college and career-ready graduates. Several MCPSS schools are ranked among Alabama's top 10. Yearly, graduating students earned about $110 million in college scholarships and 10,000 career credentials. MCPSS is learning today, leading tomorrow. Does that answer your question?
We welcome you back to Charles Leverett Field at the Bill Grider Memorial Stadium. MGM all on top, 28-0 over Foley. And keep in mind, Corey, Foley, here's the defending 7A Region 1 champ. A look at our halftime stats.
Well, it has been all MGM. The balance, rushing yards and passing yards, have equated to 163 total yards. The biggest number on that screen that we're looking at is the turnovers, because the penalties have not really hurt the Foley Lions.
Right.
The inability to rush the football and the inability to convert third downs have really been critical for the Foley Lions. If you're Coach Scott, you're just talking about another 24 minutes in front of you, one possession at a time. You're not able to get 28 points back at once, so just take it slow, one possession at a time. Find a way to get Nero involved in the offense, rushing the football. If you're able to find a way to get Colton involved, you'll be just fine.
Speaking of Colton Nero, he's one of our spotlight players tonight. Him along with Jared Hollins, our two spotlight players, will get an update as to what's been going on. We know Nero hasn't been doing too much, Corey, but what are the exact numbers for his performance tonight? We know Jared Hollins has had an outstanding night so far as well, as he's thrown for 2 and run for 1 touchdown, accounted for 3 scores, 77 yards. There's Nero right there, only 32 yards on 6 carries. Remember, Corey, this young man was averaging 12.1 yards per rush and came into this ball game averaging 277 yards per game. MGM has shut him down tonight.
Well, when you look at the total offense that is normally accumulated for the Foley Lions, over 300 yards per game.
Yeah.
So credit Alex Page and having a phenomenal defensive coordinator game plan, getting his guys to swarm to the football. All 11 hats are finding a way to make sure that they wrap up. Yards after contact have almost been non-existent for the Foley Lions, and that's critical here. The last 24 minutes of football, it's going to be interesting to see if MGM can keep away from looking at the scoreboard.
Foley is going to receive the second half kickoff, and after they get a couple downs, we'll get your checklist back up there and review that, Corey, to take a look to see what these teams have done. Matter of fact, let's get it up right now before they kick it off, and you can let us know who has done what so far.
MGM, they have to stop yards after contact. There has only been maybe 7 or 8 yards after contact, period, for the Lions, so they've done a phenomenal job of executing that. Staying on schedule, down in distance. They've only been behind the sticks maybe 4 or 5 times in the first half. Other than that, it's been second and short, or they've been able to convert on third down and finish Foley in 4 quarters. What do I mean by that? Now you have 24 minutes remaining on this game clock. Can't get caught looking at the scoreboard. For Foley, they needed to affect the quarterback. Have not been able to get after Jared Hollins and make him struggle to see the passing lanes that could be available for himself. They needed to control the clock with a dominant running game. Have not been able to do that, and more importantly, limiting those turnovers. 3 turnovers that have been critical and led to 21 first half Viking points.
Well, Corey, I received the progress report from my Twins today, and I would have to say the progress report you just gave for the Lions looked pretty bleak in the first half.
It really did, and they're going to have to find a way to have that reversal of fortune as they will be receiving this football, and Perry Uno Thompson has to find a way to get involved. They played him at quarterback. They played him, of course, at wide receiver. If you kick to him, he has to find a way to make this motivation for the offense. All they're needing is a little spark to get them started in a positive momentum here to start the second half.
And maybe that start could be on the receiving side, as Colton Nero has joined Perry Thompson to receive, and Thompson's going to let that ball go out of bounds. So that'll be a false start penalty called against MGM.
Second time we've seen that tonight on the kickoff for the Vikings. And that's something that can come back and haunt you in a closer game, to where you want to clean up things on special teams. And what you do is you allow Thompson to catch it, or Shaborn Oaks, who has got licked in that first half kickoff, to where he definitely felt it. In the second time he received it, he went ahead and ran out of bounds instead of taking that hit very smartly and wisely by Shaborn. But there's no quit in a Derek Scott coach team, folks. This coach is a phenomenal coach, again, taking this program, turning it around, being 7A Region 1 champions 1 year ago.
Right.
And he inherited a program that had lost almost 20 games in a row and was at an all-time low, and he's been able to resurrect the Foley program that's almost in 100+ years of football.
Oak's not out there. Colton Nero still out with Perry Thompson. Looks like Nero is going to field it at about the 8-yard line. Comes up the middle. That's a lot of mass moving, Corley Bounty, as he's tripped up near the 38-yard line. Could that be the spark you were just talking about earlier for the Foley Lions?
Nero with that offensive return, that's exactly what you need. Now, what you also have to see him is to have an explosive run of that same type that he just had on the kickoff. And it's been the biggest positive play so far here as we enter the beginning of the third quarter of action for this Foley. And one of the best offensive field positions that they've had, because I don't think they've crossed the 50-yard line here.
I think they may have crossed it one time tonight.
That's tough.
Once. And that run by Nero is more than half of what he's already produced tonight with 32 yards. That was a 20-yard return up to the 38-yard line for the Foley Lions. And we have a new quarterback in the ball. No, I'm sorry. There's Thompson. I was looking at Ty Moats right in front of him. And they go to Nero as they've done all night. And what has MGM done all night? Wrapped him up. You know how, Corey, they say they'll put spies on the quarterback? It's like the defense is spying Colton Nero tonight.
Well, you have to. John Robinson along with Devin Petway out of this 3-4 defense doing a tremendous job. Hat attacking the football. We call it biting the football. 2nd and 8 now for the Foley Lions.
Nelson Thompson looking to the sideline. Nero with the run. Gets it up the middle, picks up a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd down coming up here for the MGM Vikings.
Jerry Ouellette coming from his corner position, but you also see 3 other MGM Vikings swarming to the ball. 3rd down, they must convert here.
Back-to-back-to-back runs for the Lions, and what do? They pick up a 1st down, something they haven't done in a long time in this ball game. So they are close to the midfield stripe, right at the 50.
And that's exactly what you want to do if your offensive coordinator, Gary Johnston, is find a way to get your playmakers to football and involved. The big line of scrimmage push has to happen for the Lions.
Back to Nero once again, trying to take his time and pick a spot. The patience pays off. It almost looks like a rugby scrum for about 7 yards for the Lions, but you never know. The offensive coordinator could be setting up the kill shot with all this running, Corey.
Well, you do see Perry Thompson at the top of your screen, one-on-one coverage there to where you can loft it off to him, and that's exactly where you want to go.
Going to Thompson deep, as he is touched by one of the cornerbacks, and that's going to be a flag. Dirty laundry on the field. They're going to catch Shondell Harris with his hands on Perry Thompson. It's better to give up the 15 than the 6 right there.
Great offensive play call, rolling Nelson Thompson to his left and throwing to Perry Thompson. Almost a jump ball situation, one-on-one coverage. The defensive backs have done a decent job all night long, and that one, when you're in one-on-one coverage, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and Perry Thompson's going to get a free 15 out of that one. And it's also going to be offsetting.
Offsetting penalties. We'll have a do-over on 2nd down. One thing I noticed about Foley, playing a bit more up-tempo here.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have that little spark, and it all started off Colton's kickoff return for the Lions, and now you're right at the Vikings' 43-yard line, looking at a 2nd and 4 with 9:48 remaining. Keep pounding the rock, doing what you do, and try to wear out this Vikings defense. And now they're going to move Perry Thompson to the slot, so you're going to have double coverage on Perry to make sure that he's
trying to set the screen. And he tried to roll off that screen, and Nelson Thompson slides, so where he starts to slide, he is down.
Great job of the MGM defense recognizing that it was not going to be a vertical route run by Perry Thompson. Tried to set up the screen, and it wasn't there. 3rd and 2.
And look at that, where he slid, they marked it immediately short of the 1st down, but the pass is complete, as the Lions are going to pick up that 1st down.
Hermits
Cooper Hermex with his first reception tonight. And look at the up-tempo from Foley, realizing every second counts, down 28 points. They don't want to go back shut out tonight.
And you don't want to allow Colton to be able to bounce to the outside, because when he's able to pick up additional speed, the defense is not going to flourish. But positive yardage on first down. Now you're looking at right at 2nd and 6 here for the Foley Lions, and we'll have almost, it looked like an injury timeout, but he went ahead and bounced back up, and now the defense trying to reset itself. As you mentioned moments ago, the tempo now picking up for Foley offensively.
2nd and about 6 coming up in here for the Lions. Perry Thompson, they're going to just hand it off to him inside the backfield. Almost tackled for a loss. He escapes, picks up 1 or 2, maybe back to the original line of scrimmage. Let's see where they mark him at. This could be no gain, Corey. No, that's a tackle for loss. He's behind the line of scrimmage.
And what you've also been able to see here is the strength of Perry Thompson with the stiff arm bouncing to the outside. You're not going to tackle him up high. You're going to have to tackle him down low, as Perry Thompson now walks off of the field, and you'll have a chance here to see if MGM can dig in on 3rd and 10 and stop the momentum of this Foley Lions offense.
Let's go defense.
Once again, play clock is being kept on the field by the officials. We do not have a play clock here in the game, only the game clock. Nelson Thompson completes the pass to the sidelines. Not enough for the first down, as he hooked up with Hermex once again, his 2nd reception tonight. 4th down coming up. Foley definitely going for it, sitting in no man's land, running up tempo once again, looking for the fade and go to Hermex, and is tipped by Jarrell Lett. Great defensive coverage.
We can go back and look at this replay. MGM was not even set on defense, and there's going to be a penalty flag that is thrown. And I know for a fact, you look at the substitutions that were trying to be made by the Vikings, and they were not down in a defensive stance at all. They're kind of confused on what they needed to do, and you have a turnover on downs. On that play, the Vikings caught a nice break as Lett was in great defensive position, reading the quarterback's eyes. Nelson Thompson was unable to deliver there, and a nice drive that took almost 4 minutes to open up the 3rd quarter of play comes to a stall.
And no points off of that drive as it stalls at the 29-yard line of MGM. I'm sure Coach Derek Scott is burning up after that possession right there. Fake for Hollins, probably almost a busted play. He just had to make something out of nothing right there and goes up the middle for a decent gain.
His offensive lineman ran in his way. He thought he saw a running lane, would have had one, but that 9-play drive comes away with no points, and we'll see if MGM is able to hold on to the football 2nd and 5.
Look right there at Jared Hollins, one of our threaded fasteners impact players for tonight. Has time. Decides to step up into the pocket and takes off, approaching the 40-yard line, enough for the first down. They're going to move the chains, and Hollins is moving the Vikings with his feet, but a flag on the play near the 25-yard line as Don English is signaling first down. Maybe he's now realizing we have a penalty marker on the field.
You go from 2nd and 4 to possibly 2nd and close to 14. From the spot there of the penalty flag that is thrown. Unfortunate for the Vikings, because Hollins had done a good job of reading the defense and trying to pick up a first down, and we'll see exactly how they're going to decide to mark this off.
Ready and rolling.
So a holding against MGM is going to back them up. It'll be 2nd and long coming up here. Could have been right there, Core.
77.
Could have been right there, Core.
Right in our living room coming to you as you try to keep your hands high and tight, but unfortunately being caught with the holding penalty right in front of the officials, Eric Griffin. Now you're looking at 2nd and 14.
14 coming up here for the Vikings. Ball on their own 20-yard line. The line to gain is their own 34. They give it to Flowers, our first time calling his name here in the second half. And he may have gotten credit for maybe 1 or 2. No, actually, that's a tackle for loss, pushes them back. Loss of yardage of about 2 or 3 yards. So 3rd and long coming up here.
Now what you're also seeing is Perry Thompson come and play a little strong safety. The 6'4", 215-pound senior, verbally committed to Auburn as a wide receiver, is now matched up with James Bolton at the bottom of your screen. So you have best on best, wide receiver on wide receiver, speed on speed here in the 3rd quarter of action. We'll see if Jared Hollins decides to go and pick on Perry Thompson, as there's one-on-one coverage out.
Thompson does have 1 pick on the season, as a matter of fact. Hollins has a guy, throws it deep.
He missed Bolton.
And Bolton was screaming for it down here on the near side, saying I was wide open, but I believe Hollins had committed to the right side of the field and totally missed that.
He didn't even look off and go to his secondary. He knew where he wanted to go, but there was a nice try to jam at the line of scrimmage by Perry Thompson. He missed, and because of it, Bolton was able to get that free release, and now we're looking at right at a heat timeout coming
4th
here.
down, we're going to take our heat timeout, and we're going to take a break as well. MGM still in control, 28-0 over Foley.
Do you feel alone, overwhelmed, or helpless?
There's hope. There's hope. Call or text 988.
You don't have to face your crisis alone. If you need a safe space to talk with a trusted adult for support, reach out to your school counselor.
Do you need help to make it through everyday struggles? Do you need someone to talk to?
Call or text 988. Your social emotional wellness is worth it.
Remember, there's hope, there's help.
What's the matter, baby? You're not feeling good?
School-aged children are at a higher risk of getting and spreading germs and viruses. To help protect the spread, students are encouraged to stay home when sick. Parents, it's important for your child to remain at home at least 24 hours after they no longer have a fever of 100 degrees or higher without the use of medications. Please help us maintain a healthy learning environment.
4th down here for the Vikings, and time to punt. Foley puts back 2. Along with Perry Thompson, they put an additional receiver. Thompson's just going to stay away from it. Gets a decent bounce, decent roll for the Vikings. They'll down it at the 40-yard line. Got to thank our folks over there at BSN Sports for all they do for us. If you need some team apparel, from baseball to cross country or all sports in between, BSN Sports, they've got you covered. They're the heart of the game. Visit them online at bsnsports.com. Also, we want to thank Firehouse Subs for the Eats Tonight for our crew. So when you enjoy more subs, you save more lives. A portion of subs purchased at Firehouse will go to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. Make sure you visit our friend Neil Patel and the crew at the Greenlight Road Firehouse Subs location. I met Kim today at the Firehouse when I picked up the sandwiches, Corey, and she said, hey, you're the guy. And I said, no. She said, oh, you're the guy who sent the guy. I said, yeah, I'm the guy who sent the guy last week. I'm that guy. So she wasn't there last week when I picked him up, but I got to meet her. She had a laugh on that one, man. So real nice crew over there at Firehouse.
Well, I tell you, their sandwiches and their chips are phenomenal, and we want to thank them for taking care of our crew.
Yes, sir.
Every single game day week that we are here on these campuses. And today, 28-0 in the 3rd quarter, and it's really been a situation to where on that first drive to open up the 3rd quarter, the Lions had a 9-play drive that stalled right inside the red zone area. The Vikings want to make sure that that doesn't happen again, as the Lions have it now at the 40.
2nd and 10 coming up. They hand it off to Colton Nero, one of our spotlight players tonight, and boy, MGM has spotlighted him tonight, basically just shutting down his offensive output a young man we talked about coming in averaging about 12 points a game, and something we talked about today on your radio show, Corey. As I said, since since last year, MGM is on an 8-game regular season winning streak. They won their last 6 last year. They won their first 2 this year. They're one of the hottest teams in the area, man.
Without question, Zach Golson has done a phenomenal job along with his staff, and you see how many Black Hats are trying to get to the football, but you see
look at the escapability of Colton Nero. Started at his own 42, almost takes it to the house as he is pushed down near the 11-yard line. Corey, you could say he's fancy on his feet. They were just chasing him, and they just ran out of gas as he found a hole and immediately turned on the Jets.
Left, right, left. I'm going to turn on the Jets and show you that speed that he has, leading the state in rushing and just able to push him out of bounds with Jalen Gray. It's going to be the first red zone opportunity.
Ball comes out, but forward progress had stopped on Damian Marshall of Foley. It'll be 2nd down and goal coming up here for the Lions. The deepest they have gotten into Vikings territory tonight on a big run, busted open by Colton Nero.
Nero must have the football right here, and he must get 6 for the Lions.
And off to Colton Nero. He picks up a couple, gets closer to the end zone. It'll be 3rd and short, 3rd and goal coming up here for the Lions. Definitely 4-down territory if they don't pick it up here as they run tempo. Go back to Nero. He's just going to walk in easily for a 3-yard score. Colton Nero gets on the board first time tonight for the Lions.
And you look at the tempo all set up by Nero, and his speed, yards after contact, is something that we didn't see in the first half, MGM allowing. And here to open up the second half with the kickoff return by Colton, and then he turns around on this drive and is able to capitalize. The last 9-play drive did not equate in any points, but this one equates in the first score for the Foley Lions, now trailing 28-6 with 4 minutes remaining, the point after pending. And it's a great job by Gary Johnston and his offensive squad by not quitting. Again, Derek Scott, the head coach, we know there's no quit in Derek Scott. And if you're MGM, you want to make sure that you don't get caught looking at the scoreboard.
So Nelson Thompson is out on the field. Matt Owen is out. It appears as if they're setting up for the extra point, not going for 2. Nelson Thompson, the quarterback, also the holder here. Low snap. Owens' kick is up and good. 28-7 is our score. Let's check in with Kimberly Dunn.
A name we are hearing a lot right now, Nero, for the Foley team. That is someone that Coach Colson said he had his eye on. When talking before the game, he said in order for us to win this ball game and come away with a victory, we have to control Thompson and Nero for this Foley team. And we're starting to see that explosiveness of Nero and really what he is able to do for this Foley team. And so Colson and the MGM Vikings are going to have to continue to control him and control these Lions if they want to come away with the win and not get closer in scoring. And also, Foley Lions, they talked about how they just really feel that they have an edge of competitiveness and experience. They've been battle tested. So he said he's not worried about what the score is. He just wants to focus on the mental preparation that he knows his team is ready for, and he's hoping that everything else will just fall into place after that.
Thank you, Kimberly. Appreciate that. Like you said, Corey, no give up in Coach Derek Scott. I mean, it takes 4 quarters to complete a ball game, so by no means are we over. I'm wondering if we're going to get the surprise maybe pooch kick or onside right here, down 28-7. You need to try to steal a possession if you can, but I see some good hands, fellas, in for MGM up front.
Al, you never know what kind of bounce that you can get on this natural grass surface, but you have to have great ball placement coming off of that tee.
Owen's going to kick it deep. Fielded by Harris, up to the 20. He's got some guys in front of him. Up to the midfield stripe. Shondell Harris on the move. Ball is out, fumble. Did the Vikings jump back on top of it? Let's see. Or will Foley get a gift? The Lions are saying it's their ball.
It is.
Foley gets the ball, a turnover, a fumble from Shondell Harris, who was trying to get to the goal line.
What a return by Harris.
Wow.
You look at where he fields this ball. His feet are up against the goal line, coming from the 1 yard line. And look at his cutback ability. He takes that right sideline, and then he just puts on the brakes, makes someone slip, then has a change of direction. And look at the speed from behind. It's going to be number 6, it looks like, with a great hustle play for Foley. And that's a huge play on special teams that took great field position away. We'll see if momentum now switches to the Foley Lions. That's the type of turnover that they needed, and we'll see if Nero is able to capitalize. Busted play, Al.
Busted play. Nelson Thompson tackled for a loss of about a 5-yard loss on that. It's going to bring up 2nd and long for Foley.
Isaac Campbell shoots the gap and is able to catch Nelson Thompson trying to hand the football off. Now it puts you off schedule, down in distance, because now you're in a situation where you have to find Perry Thompson as your slot wide receiver.
Pass complete to Thompson. Gets it back to original line of scrimmage. Boy, look at the Vikings gang tackling tonight. Jarrell Lett, Casino in there, Devin Petway in there. Don't forget, coming up, the game of the week, Brainbuster. We're going to release that question coming up here shortly, so stick around for that. See if Corey LeBounty will get his wish with multiple choice, or and maybe fill in the blank. We never put a fill in the blank.
No,
on
that
you,
would
Corey.
be a first. That would definitely be a first.
So time out. Let's go ahead and put the question up. Talking to my producer, Quentin Howard. He's in my ear. So let's go ahead and put the question up. We got a break right here. MGM calls timeout. All right, Corey, here we go. Our game of the week, Brainbuster. MGM is 2-0 for the first time since 2007. How many times have they started a season at 3-0? And we have your multiple choice. 7 times for A, 5 times for B, 3 times for C, 6 times for D. So ponder that, think about it for a while, and we'll give you the answer somewhere near the 4th quarter or in between or something like that.
And what you do have out of this Foley Lion team is their 100th season of football.
Sure is.
So what a great anniversary. What a great way to be coming off a 7A Region 1 championship in your 99th year, and here try to defend it in your 100th year. We mentioned Derek Scott, no quit in his type coach team, 2nd and 7. And we'll see if Perry Thompson can get involved along with Shaborn Oaks.
Down marker says 3rd down. The scoreboard says 2nd down. Nelson Thompson with the pass, incomplete. Incomplete, out of bounds as he was trying to get linked up. Now the press box operator called it 4th down, and magically, just like that, Corey, the scoreboard says it's 4th down.
Yeah, and that's something that now when you're looking at 4th and 7, you were able to try to have some momentum off that turnover. Now, if you are MGM, you don't want to get caught looking at the scoreboard. You just want to continue to sustain offensive drives and kill the rest of this 238 with either a score or going into the 4th quarter with the football.
Owen back to punt. It's a fake. It's a fake up the middle. Goes Colton Nero. 1st down. I was sensing that one coming, Corey. I didn't want to jinx them, but they pulled it off. And we have an injured Viking on the ground at about their own 35-yard line.
Hit the up back, which was Nero.
Jalen Gray writhing in pain with his knee. But that's going to be a 1st down. Foley needs some kind of jump, something to get them going, as Gray is going to try to walk off the field in his own power. looking like his right leg may be injured. So Foley's going to take over after the fake. No surprise with that at all. Ball at the 43-yard line. They're on 43, 2:29. They need points. They need to secure time as well because the clock is not their friend right now,
no,
Corey. Down 21
not.
points.
Absolutely not. And if you are the MGM Vikings, what you would love to do here is find a way to either bleed the 2:29 off of this clock or find a way here to come up with another turnover. A timely turnover would be great.
Thompson's pass is complete to Hermix. Picks up about 4, maybe 5. Second down, and 5 is coming up here for the Foley Lions. They brought over 75 players tonight. They have 12 seniors on the squad, returning 5 on offense and 5 on defense. And the name you hear about the most, the Auburn commit, Perry Thompson, flipped from Alabama late in the summer as well. And Coach Scott told me that's the only guy has a verbal commit on his team. Nero doesn't even have any offers, Corey. Unbelievable, such output the young man has done so far this season. And we have another penalty marker on the field.
On behalf of the staff, faculty, students, coaches, and administrators, we welcome you to tonight's contest.
False start called against the Lions, so they'll push them back 5 yards. So now they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, you don't want to do that if you're Foley. You want to be able to control the clock by a positive nature, and you don't want to get behind the sticks 2nd and 11 now. And we'll see here if the passes are being able to be completed.
Quick pass, tried to catch Rylan Pedalino on the slant as he ran up the middle. Thompson's pass incomplete. Takes him to 3rd and long, 3rd and 11 here. Great crowd here tonight in Sims for this top 10 matchup. As we said at the start of the broadcast, we have never had a top 10 matchup in any class in the 3rd week of the season for the MCPSS-TV network.
Huge matchup here for the MCPSS television network, and 28-7 our score. 3rd and 11, a huge play for the Lions.
Nero lined up in the slot, and they complete the pass right at the stick. The line to gain was the 47.
Give it to him.
And that's a first down, Corey LeBounty. Huge completion.
Great timing by the one out of the backfield. The quarterback, Nelson Thompson, puts the ball on the money to his back out of the backfield, and he's able to show his versatility as a receiver as well.
Foley still playing tempo, and you can see Devin Petway trying to do the rip, trying to rip it out as Colton Nero's going to the ground.
Well, they were able to have success early in the game, stripping it from behind, and you get a chance to see the strength and the knowledge of knowing that he gave it up once, does not want to give it up twice.
3 turnovers tonight for Foley, a fumble and 2 interceptions thrown by Nelson Thompson as he tried to connect with Perry Thompson, incomplete.
And anytime you see the hat come off of the official, that is signaling that the wide receiver has stepped out of bounds.
Correct.
And if he were to come back in and catch it, it would not count as a catch for the Foley Lions. But once again, quickly back to 3rd and long as we were able to see them convert just moments ago.
3rd and 10 here for the Lions. Going back to Colton Nero, look at him turn the legs, but he is met just past the line of scrimmage by the Vikings. 4th down, you're expecting Foley to go for it right here. No need to punt.
Well, you have right close to a minute left. 4th and 9, you're in Vikings territory, right at the 46-yard line of MGM. And you're not going to have enough time to run the clock out for the quarter. So you're going to have to run this play on 4th and 9, and it has to be a money play. Perry Thompson in the slot, one-on-one coverage. No, they're going to double Perry.
Nelson Thompson throws it, completes it to Hermix. Is that a late hit out of bounds?
Could have been.
The Foley fans are up in arms across the way. But it does pick up the first downs, and the chain gang moves.
And Foley has brought a wonderful contingency of fans across the water, and tempo going quickly.
Right.
Colton not able to get any yardage, and that will be our last play of the third quarter if tempo is not picked back up by Foley.
Second down and about 11 coming up here for the Lions. And Foley's just going to let the clock run out, so that's going to wrap up 3 quarters of play. MGM on top, 28-7 in this 7A Region 1 matchup, top 10 matchup. Great ball game, 1 quarter headed your way. We'll take a break and be back with more action.
There's a lot to like about Mobile County Public Schools.
What I enjoy about Mobile County School is the extra attention my teachers give us to help us learn.
Teachers are liking their access to technology, and students are liking the quality of their education.
I like the technology that's been incorporated into my education.
And since 1826, you have trusted us to prepare your child for their future, and we like that. Mobile County Public Schools. We are learning today, leading tomorrow.
Did you know that missing 2 days of school per month
has a negative effect on student achievement?
And that chronic absenteeism is negatively impacting
1 out of every 10 Alabama students.
Studies show students who are chronically absent are more likely to drop out of school. For every 1 day your child is absent from school, it takes 3 days for them to catch up.
So if I am not sick, make sure I'm at school, because missing school means missing out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ayla, hi. Oh, hi, Sierra. How are you? Good. How are things?
Things couldn't be better.
What do you mean?
Well, I just started this new job as a school teacher with the Mobile County Public Schools, and it has been a life changer. Great benefits, the hours are great, and great students. Just overall, it's a great opportunity.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Yeah. I'm going to look into that.
You should.
For more information, visit mcpss.com/job opportunities.
Second down and 11. This is the 13th play of this drive that started in the third quarter and continued off of a fake punt to Colton Nero. Nelson Thompson in the pocket and sacked for a loss. MGM starts the fourth quarter off like they've done the past 3. Defense, defense, defense.
Our first sack of the night for the Vikings. Jordan Simmons, 6'1", 230-pound junior, with the tackle for loss and the sack in his category. 3rd and 15 now. Perry Uno Thompson will be looking to see if he's able to receive this football. And he's not going to be at the slot, but he will be in the wide receiver position to where if you have a linebacker trying to cover him, all he needs to do is get to the sticks.
3rd and 15 here for Foley. Big play as we're starting off the fourth quarter. Thompson gets it out to Hermix, and he is handled immediately by who? Shondell Harris. I'm going to make up for that fumble they knocked out on the kick return.
That's a great way to atone for the turnover. Harris, the 5'11", 185-pound sophomore, has the ability to play offense, defense, and special teams. And we mentioned the young man only being a sophomore for Zach Golson and this Vikings program.
4th down coming up here for Foley. Once again going for it. As the PA announcer is imploring the Vikings faithful with the defense chant. The bleachers are rocking. And of course, Corey, right on time, the officials blow a whistle.
It's got to be a false start. It looked like you tried to get out a little too soon if you're the Foley Lions. And
you mean there wasn't a false start on number 74 of Kansas City last night? Is that what you're saying, Corey?
Did he get called one single time last night?
The one time he got called late in the ball game, he was actually covered up by a tight end, and he actually did have a false start. But I agree, man, that was a legal formation all night last night in that game. And plenty false starts last night.
Well, it'll be 4th and 16 here for offensive coordinator Gary Johnston, and he's really going to rely on Nelson Thompson to find Perry Uno Thompson, who's going to be at the bottom of your screen. Looks like they're going to bring a safety over to help.
Colton Nero lined up in the slot.
Stop again.
And we have a timeout called by Derek Scott.
Foley.
And they want to discuss things at 4th and 16, down 21 points. And let's get our brain buster question up here and reveal the answer. I think, Corey, you've pondered and probably dialed a friend or Instagram somebody on X or something. I don't know. So we'll get the question up here. Our game of the week, brain buster. All right, Corey. MGM is 2-0 for the first time since 2007. How many times have they started a season at 3-0?
3-0 in the history of the program. A or D? I'm going to dodge with D.
D6. We'll get Miss Diane to hit the button and we'll reveal the answer. Corey, close, but no cigar. 7 times they have started a season at 3-0, 1962, 65, 1997. And look at the 2000, that's when the Scott Leslie run kind of was taking place. 2000, 2001, 2007, I believe that should have been 2012. That could be a typo on my part.
Well, I will say this, 6 is close to 7, but you have the ability here to start undefeated. And more importantly, 1-0 in region play.
That's the huge one right there for both of these teams tonight. 4th down and 16. Formation has changed. It looks like Nero's going to be the up back. A little pooch punt, trying to surprise the Vikings. They're going to play field position. That surprises me after a timeout, but you want to pin them. We'll see if it pays off for Coach Derek Scott and the crew.
Well, Derek Scott is the defensive coordinator for this Foley Lions program, and they're giving up 21.5 points per game and come into this contest undefeated at 2-0 as well, with 45-19 winners over Prattville and 37-24 winners over Baldwin County. And next week, they're going to jump right back into area and region play versus Baker. So you would love to do so 1-0 instead of 0-1, but here it is, the Vikings deep in their own territory. If there's one-on-one coverage, you have Thompson on Bolton again. That's a green light to where if Thompson doesn't jam Bolton at the line, that's a free release pitch and catch for that dynamic duo.
And out to Troy Flowers, he goes up the middle, and he keeps going to the 35, up to the 40, gets the Vikings out of a tough situation with a big run.
Yes, sir, that is
one of our statisticians,
play.
Matt Moore, told me that was a 15-play drive by Foley that produced no points. Second time they've had a big drive tonight with no points, Corey.
9-play drive and 15-play drive negated. Not only does it drain the clock, it takes a lot of energy out of you, but you take that from your own 3-yard line to your own 45-yard line, a nice 42-yard run by Troy Flowers, the most explosive running play that we've seen out of this Vikings rushing attack on this evening.
Flag on the play. That's going to push it up further into Vikings territory, so the ball placed right at the 50-yard line. 1st and 10 at the midfield stripe for MGM in total control, 28-7. Under 10 minutes remaining here in the ball game. Hand off to Flowers, cuts and weaves his way for about 4 yards. Takes MGM to 2nd down. Clock continues to tick. Not the friend of the Foley Lions right now, down 27 points. They need to make something happen. Can opener, screwdriver, corkscrew, whatever you can do at this point, Corey. You got to pull out all the stops.
You're going to have to tag team to the football, and what it's going to be is a helmet can be delivered to that football and jar that football loose, because you know the runners are going to secure the football high and tight, so you're going to have to put a helmet directly on the nose of that football to get them to cough it up.
Another run on the play. That's going to be enough for the first down as Flowers picks it up. The chains will move. Ball being placed at the 44-yard line of the Foley Lions. Jared Hollins enters back into the ball game, just taking his time.
Ball's up to 39.
Hollins rolls out to his right, just going to keep it as he is tackled for a loss. Be second down and long coming up here for MGM.
Well, if you're Jared Hollins, you want to find a way to stay clean and not take those necessary hits. You're leading 28-7, 21-point deficit facing the Foley Lions. Shamar Elston, the 6'1", 171-pound junior, wanted Jared to throw him the football, but Jared couldn't do so with the defender wrapped around his ankles.
No, could not.
And now you're looking at 2nd and 14 now.
As the MGM is just taking their time. Hollins runs to the sideline, gets the call, comes in. Something we haven't seen in a while. That was an actual huddle. I want you to know that, Corey, on the field. That was a huddle that took place here in high school football. Hand off to Flowers. He picks up maybe 1 yard, so it'll be 3rd down and long coming up.
And what you are seeing by this Foley defense is more hats getting around the football. Greg McGowan from his free safety position making that stop. 3rd down and 14 yards to go, and you mentioned the Vikings in no hurry.
None.
To go ahead and bleed this clock out as much as they can. And Hollins knows that he has to be efficient and effective and try to keep the ball in bounds if at all possible.
3rd down, 14. They fake the jet sweep. Hollins keeps it, goes right up the gut, keeps the clock running as he approaches the 30-yard line. He'll be short, but that'll take us to our final heat time out of the ball game, I believe, as we are under 6 minutes. Let's see, Don English hasn't signaled for it as of yet. They're going to call 4th down. Maybe they'll do it here if the Vikings decide to punt on the change of possession.
Yeah, dead ball possession. They'll go ahead and observe that heat timeout. Didn't want to stop it right there unless he picked up the first down. And now you're looking at 4th and close to 2 yards to go at the Lions 39.
They're going to go for it here.
I would too. I mean,
might as well.
I think that you could go ahead and look at this formation.
Well, it's a bunch formation. And Foley's going to call a timeout. So Coach Derek Scott's going to call the timeout right here before the heat timeout. We got a break. Let's take a look at some of the schedules. Corey, you kind of alluded to it for both of these teams for the rest of the season as what they have coming up. For Foley, next week they're going to host Baker, then they're off. Good time to be off, but look who they catch coming off. Saraland, then Fairhope, 2 back-to-back powerhouses right there. Then Bryant, and look at on the road for their last 3 at Davidson, at Daphne, at Jackson Olin. I talked to Coach Scott, who made this schedule, man.
Yeah, it's
3
definitely
road games to wrap up.
Brutal at Saraland coming off of that bye week.
Yeah.
Will be a great matchup. And Derek Scott, again, a tremendous job that he's done as the head coach.
Here's a look at MGM. They're going to have to travel to Fairhope next week. That'll be a big 7A Region 1 battle. Then they're going to host Bryant, host Baldwin County at Davidson. That'll be a good one. Of course, the Battle of West Mobile, we always try to be on hand for that one. MGM's going to host it this year, Corey, as they finally broke the losing streak last year at Baker. That was a big win for the Vikings. So they're going to play 10 straight and then take the last week off. So both schedules for both of these teams.
That last week off being imperative to where if you qualify for the playoffs, you'll have a chance to rest and see your opponent. But it's 4th and 2. And here's that same formation that we saw a little bit different And we'll see now Foley.
Back-to-back timeouts called by Derek Scott. I think he should be out of timeouts by now.
I know that's 2 for sure.
And he called one earlier before they did the punt that went to the 1-yard line on the previous, that wrapped up that 15-play drive. So I'm thinking Foley should be out of timeouts at this point.
So with the new scoreboard here on the campus of Mary G. Montgomery, nice looking new scoreboard for the Vikings. Does not have the timeouts available, but Al, you're right on the money there as far as the number of timeouts that have been called by Coach Scott in this second half. And you're going to need those if you're able to get this stop here offensively.
There it is.
It's going to be, look at this brand new scoreboard.
Yeah, they don't have the timeouts left aren't functioning tonight. Maybe it has something to do with the play clock, Corey. I don't know.
What happens, too, is it's hard enough for the clock operator to get the time and score correct when you're punching in down and distance.
Right.
Sometimes you don't want to have to deal with those timeouts as well. But I know that on 4th and 2, the Vikings need a strong offensive line push here against this front 4 of Foley, and we'll see exactly what Jared Hollins dials up.
Colton Nero in playing defense right now, and they brought in some beef on the line. Perry Thompson playing defense as well. I think Coach Scott is going to roll the dice, call his timeout, and say, I have to get the ball back right here. I got to do whatever I got to do. Hollins with the keeper, busting through the line, making the tackle, Darion Autry from his mic position. And that's going to be ball over and down.
Didn't stretch out far enough, and a huge stop. If you're Jared Hollins, you probably wanted to try to stretch that football as far as you could, but a great defensive stop. As you see, it's definitely a quarterback keeper designed to roll out. Now, if he stretches here with the football, it's going to be a different mark. But a great stop by this Foley Lions defense, trailing 28-7 with 4:58 remaining here in the 4th quarter. The only downside is the Lions are out of timeout.
Yeah.
So everything has to be very quick, and you want to see here your quick strike ability for the offense of Foley. Nelson Thompson has not been able to hook up vertically with Perry Thompson, as this MGM defense has done a tremendous job of making sure they shadow and box in Perry Thompson.
Foley down 3 scores right here. They need to strike quick and strike quick fast. Thompson rolls out. Pass is complete. Shaborn Oaks went out earlier but came back in. Picks up maybe about 4 or 5, so second down. Foley trying to play tempo here. They cannot stop the clock anymore with timeouts.
You want your routes to hit out of bounds. That's exactly what you want. Perry Thompson has 3 defenders shadowing him everywhere that he is. 4:25 and the clock's running.
He's a popular guy, Corey. That's what it is. Pass intended for Perry Thompson from Nelson Thompson. Incomplete, does stop the clock momentarily.
Anytime you're a 5-star recruit that has flipped from Alabama to Auburn, you're definitely going to be a very popular guy. And kudos to this young man and the way that he has handled himself throughout the recruiting process and being that guy who's a difference maker for this Foley Lions program. And I know that he's just another one of these phenomenal athletes that have come through Foley High School. Of course, we say wide receiver, we think Julio Jones. You say Foley, 100 years of football, you think Kenny the Snake Stabler as well.
Nero up the middle on the draw play. Picks up the first down as they get near the 45-yard line, as we get near 4 minutes remaining here in the ball game. Foley's got to definitely turn that tempo up, down 3 scores here.
Cooper Hermetz has also been an effective slot wide receiver, to where if you're so worried about where he and Oaks are, you can dump it down to Cooper, number 17 in the slot.
They fake the handoff to Marshall. Nelson Thompson slides, Corey. That's for a loss. Second down and long coming up for the young sophomore.
a wasted down for the Foley Lions.
Somewhat of a wasted down, yeah.
2nd down and 12 yards to go. The ball spotted right at the 43-yard line of the Lions.
Got to teach the young man, you're out the pocket, throw it away. That'll stop the clock. You're going to lose the down.
You've got to go quick. You can't sit here and wait. You have to go quickly if you're this Foley offense.
Pass incomplete.
Your timing has to be better as well.
Third down and long coming up here, 3rd and 12 for the Lions. Definitely 4-down territory. Trip receivers to the near side here. Perry Thompson all by himself up top, covered by Shondell Harris. They go to Hermex. You've called about him, Corey. He comes through right there in the slot. Only picked up a couple of yards, needed to run that route a bit deeper, but you got to run tempo right now. 4th down coming up here for the Lions, and for them, this is the ball game.
It really is. You have no timeouts remaining.
None.
You have Perry Thompson on the top of your screen. We'll see if they shadow him with one-on-one coverage with 2:35 remaining. I would think that they would shade a safety to that side to make sure that he's not able to pick up that 1st down. But the clock is not the friend of the Foley Lions right now.
Empty set for Nelson Thompson. Pass picked off by Devin Petway. Devin Petway secures the interception.
That's
3rd interception for Nelson Thompson, and the 2nd one for Petway tonight.
And once again, doing a phenomenal job of rolling back the coverage, reading the eyes of Nelson Thompson as he eyed his wide receiver the entire time. Did not even see Petway, but I will say this, Nelson Thompson, he has 2 tackles tonight. He saved 2 touchdowns and prevented pick sixes, but it's going to be the nail in the coffin for the Foley Lions and send the visitors back to Baldwin County 0-1 in 7A region play.
That's what it's shaping up possibly to be here, Core. New back in the backfield for the Vikings. Fresh legs, as we like to say. Javion Hawthorne gets his name called for the first time tonight. Uniform looking fresh, numbers looking fresh, Corey, as he comes into the ball game, picks up about 4 yards on the carry.
Well, I will say this, the Foley Lions came out in the 2nd half with a lot more roar than they did in the 1st half of action, and Nero has and was a factor in the 3rd and 4th quarter. As you mentioned, the freshness of the Vikings just have to stay in bounds.
And does right there.
And looking at clock and time, unless they get a 1st down, it will be a turnover on downs, because they're not going to be able to run the clock out before the play clocks hits 000s. This is 3rd and 8 for the Vikings. They will come up with 4th and 8 here as well. After this, if they're not able to pick it up, and it'll be a turnover on downs if they're not able to get the 1st down.
Let's get up our Career Tech Education Player of the Game for tonight. And I think we're in unanimous agreement with this young man who had a great night tonight on the ground and through the air, as a matter of fact. We'll get it up after this play. 3 handoffs back to back to Hawthorne as the Vikings crowd starts singing na 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 na. There's our Career Tech Education Player of the Game, Jared Hollins, the South Alabama commit. What a game by Hollins tonight.
Well, he was already one of our impact players of the game. The young man has had a phenomenal start to his senior season. The South Alabama verbal commit has 4 rushing touchdowns on the season so far, and has added to that number tonight as far as another rushing touchdown, make that 5, and has been able to throw for touchdowns as well.
Tonight through the air. And just like that, MGM has broken a 4-game losing streak to Foley And they are 1-0 in region play with a big region win tonight, 28-7 over Foley. And possibly, Corey, they may be moving up in the rankings in next week's Alabama Sports Writers Association Top 10 poll.
1 week at a time, and Coach mentioned that this is not revenge, it's redemption.
It's the redemption tour.
And it's 1 week at a time for that redemption tour. You take care of business here. The Vikings were able to have great stoppage of yards after contact. They were also to stay in on schedule. They were able to finish Foley in 4 quarters. And Foley, they weren't able to get after Jared Hollins. That's why he was our career tech player of the game.
Right.
If you're not able to run the ball, you're not able to control the clock, and also limiting the turnovers. Way too many turnovers for the Foley Lions, which equated in 21 points on the board for the Vikings.
He did it on the ground. He did it through the air. Ran for 1, threw for 2 tonight. Even had a pooch punt for 31 yards as well. He was all over the field. Jared Hollins, phenomenal job. But you got to give a hats off to that MGM Vikings defense. Turnovers, caused fumbles, had a pick 6 tonight. Devin Petway with 2 interceptions. It was an overall team performance for the Vikings.
Alex Page only giving up 4.5 points per game as the defensive coordinator coming into this. And as we look at these final statistics, Foley was able to really increase their rushing yardage in the second half. And MGM comes away with 230 total yards of offense. That 1 turnover is something Coach Golson's going to look at, but Coach Scott's going to circle those 4 turnovers that led to 21 points. Ultimately being scored by the Vikings, but 28-7 our final score, and the penalties also is something that I know Coach Golson will look at to try to
have to clean
increase and clean up also, Al.
But the 1 turnover was on special teams that Shondell Harris was trying to get to the end zone, and the ball was punched out from behind. So I can't necessarily hold that against him, but I am impressed that Foley kind of did get that rushing game going back, 141 yards on the ground. We know Kim is efforting to get with winning coach Zach Golson, but overall a fine performance put together by the Vikings tonight, Corey.
Without question, Colton Nero was the point of emphasis for this squad tonight. He and Perry Thompson, and Coach Golson mentioned it at halftime. They did a phenomenal job on the 2 superstars for Foley.
Let's take it down to Kimberly Dunn with winning coach Zach Golson.
Coach Golson, congratulations on this region win. What does this mean to you and your team?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's huge win, huge region 1 7A win. A little sloppy in the second half. Only had 1 possession in the 3rd quarter, but you know, anytime you can come out of here with a win, it's a big deal. So really happy for our guys. We'll go enjoy this one for 24 hours and start getting ready for Fairhope.
Yeah, several explosive moments for you and your team, some interceptions. What have you worked on with your team to prepare for those moments and those opportunities?
Yeah, our defense is playing really, really good football. We've worked really hard all summer on our speed, and it's paying off. You can see that we're fast and physical, and you know, I'm really happy for our guys, man. They've worked so hard, and just happy to see them get off to the start that we thought we could.
Headed into a big game next week, what adjustments are you going to make with your team to continue to prepare for that and hopefully come away with another victory?
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing, we got to go check and make sure we're healthy. That was a physical game. They're a physical team. So, you know, we'll get back in here on Sunday and make sure that we're healthy going into next week. And, you know, we'll go in and check them out and get to work.
All right, congratulations, Coach. Go celebrate with your team.
All right, Kimberly, we do appreciate that. Next week, we're going back to legendary Lad People Stadium as Viger will take on Williamson for a 5A Region 1 contest. All right, for Corey Bounty, for Kimberly Dunn, I know she's excited. She's a former MGM Viking. Our statisticians, China Powell and Matt Moore, we appreciate you watching this game tonight. Next week, Fairhope, watch out. The redemption tour continues for the MGM Vikings. Have yourself a great weekend.